Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshals, President and CEO of AdvoCare, Richard Wright, and Distributor Relations for AdvoCare, Sherry Wright.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the AdvoCare 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're excited to be having a race today, and we know you are too. I want to give a special greeting to our AdvoCare distributors across the country and say thank you for all you do every day. Now let's have a race.
Gentlemen,
spark your engines.
Crank it when you're ready. I can't see you enter the pit road, but I can see
the competition yellow is lap 30.
Good.
Lap 30. Yeah, it's actually step 4. Actually, we're the 88 car.
That is a sound we've waited a little over a day and a half to hear. There are just 2 races until the cut is made for NASCAR's chase for the Sprint Cup. Here are the standings beginning this one. Top 6 drivers are locked into the championship. The next 2 are in position to clinch a spot today, while Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart are the 2 for whom that good day, bad day scenario I mentioned are in play. Below them, the pair of wild card spots for drivers 11th through 20th in points who have wins or the most wins. That could be altered greatly depending on who wins this race and how each of those drivers fares in this one. And happy Tuesday from Atlanta. Alan Bestwick with former Atlanta race-winning driver and crew chief Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie. Let's start with the race. What kind of action are we going to see today?
Yeah, just what we expected to see Sunday night. Race cars all over this racetrack, using the bottom groove, the middle, the top. They're just going to be looking for grip out here today. And even though this is a completely different track than what they anticipated racing under the lights, the cloud cover is going to give them a little bit of a break, but grip is going to be what they're looking for. They're going to have to make sure that they don't wear these tires out too quickly.
And what I love about this track is that you can actually see these drivers getting out of shape. They can race all over the place, but you'll see them turning the wheels to the right. You'll see the back end step out, and that's cool. You can see that like you do on a short track, and they're going 180 miles an hour, so that's cool.
A lot of fun. Now, conditions, I mentioned, greatly different than what they were supposed to be on Sunday night. Check out the temperature difference from what it was at race time Sunday night to what it is now. Again, how's it going to affect the drivers and teams?
Well, it's definitely going to affect the cars. They're going to have a lot more power because of the cooler air, but they're going to have a lot more grip. This track is really green. All the rubber got washed off from the weekend. It's going to take a little while to get that back on the track, and when it happens, it's going to change the cars and the way they drive.
Yeah, and these drivers are going to have to be very careful here the first few runs that they make, not to wear the right front, right rear tire. They don't want to create an issue for them. You can run hard, wear these things out in about 5 to 8 laps, but they're going to have to be mindful of this and take care of those tires.
All right, things to watch for as the day unfolds. Let's talk with 4 of the drivers as they get ready to go. Our ESPN in-race reporters today are all 4 of the Sprint Summer Showdown competitors who could win that $3 million jackpot with a victory.
Hey, Kyle, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN, you have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4 right here.
All right, Kyle, I know that you're all about wins and trophies, buddy, but this has to be a pretty special opportunity in this Sprint Summer Showdown to win a $3 million payoff today, right?
Sure is. You know, it could be a really good day. We're definitely hoping that we've got the right combination to make it happen here with this pedigree Camry. You know, it's been good this weekend and qualified up front, so, you know, wouldn't expect to see anything less here.
All right, Kyle, thanks. Have a great day, buddy.
Brad Keselowski, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
4.
Hey, Brad, I know some people said maybe running that nationwide race wasn't a great idea. Not me, mind you, but that was a few days ago. What did you learn maybe the other night, and what do you think about these track conditions and what they're going to be today to try to win that $3 million?
Yeah, well, I learned I'm going to have my hands full today based on the way everything looks for the tires, but we're just having to see, Andy, how it plays out. Track conditions being cool and grippy like this, hopefully that'll be good for everybody.
Okay, man, good luck today.
Thank you.
Marcus, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Probably equal to the spacing of those black marks. I'm going to be that far back from that first one.
10-4.
Remember also the lights before the speed line exiting pit. So we'll go all the way to cone to cone, I'll remind you.
Hey, Marcus, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
10-4, Dale, gotcha.
All right, buddy. Hey, I know this is a pretty special day, and a win would mean a lot of things to you in a lot of different ways for the rest of this season. But I know that the charity that you have, Victory Junction Game Camp, it would be pretty special to get them $1 million, right?
Yeah, absolutely. 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 Absolutely
Yeah, it's just great to be part of the showdown. Got to thank Sprint for doing it. You know, $1 million to a race fan, and then to the Victory Junction, another $1 million. Just there's a lot to race for today. Just got to thank Quickset. You know, it's their first race with us as the primary sponsor, and they picked a good one, man, because we've got a lot to win. Got a chance to make the chase, a chance to win for $3 million. So we'll be going for it.
Okay, Marks, have a great day.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul Menard, Andy Petrie, you got us?
Yes, sir. Thanks for sticking around.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around too, Paul. Hey, I know you don't race for the money, but man, $3 million, that's still a lot of money for you and a charity and a fan. A win today would mean a lot for you to make this chase. How hard are you going to push to get that today?
Well, to get in the chase, we got to win the second race. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So that's our number one goal. And along the way, if we collect the sprint check and help out Habitat for Humanity and our fans, Andrew Gay, all the better.
Okay, Paul, I know this is a great track for you. Good luck today.
All right, Andy, thank you.
So the drivers in the Sprint Summer Showdown are 4 in-race reporters today here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. And as the cars work through their parade and pace laps, there'll be a lot of really important things happening on pit road today. For more of the stories in the race, we go there to Dave Burns.
Alan, Dale Earnhardt Jr. had a fast start to the 2011 season, and then it became kind of sluggish for them. They're in a chase spot right now, but just 39 points ahead of 11th position and without a win. Crew Chief Steve Letarte told me that if they just held on to that spot heading to Richmond later this week, he'd be okay with that. I asked him if that was winning for this team. He said, you know what, if we make the chase, that'll be huge for these guys. We have contended for some wins. We are contending for the chase, and that's a place Junior definitely needs to get back to. Dr. Jerry Punch?
Kevin Harvick has 17 career NASCAR Sprint Cup victories, but arguably none more meaningful or emotional than that very first one that came here at Atlanta in March of 2001. Just weeks after the tragic loss of Dale Earnhardt, Richard Childress tabbed the rookie Harvick to fill the seat. And in only his third career start, Harvick nipped Jeff Gordon at the line by a mere 6/1000th of a second. Today, this team that hasn't had a top 5 in almost 3 months needs to dig deep and have that kind of effort if they're to have a chance to have some momentum entering the chase. Jamie Little.
Well, Doc, in 5 previous mile-and-a-half races this year, Carl Edwards has 1 win and the best average finish of the entire field, 4th. Now, as crew chief Bob Osborne told me, quote, this car at Atlanta has a lot of speed, and we have a great opportunity to win here today. Now, remember, Carl Edwards did win the Nationwide Series race right here on Saturday night. He hopes that catapults him to his 4th victory at Atlanta. Vince Welch.
Denny Hamlin is clinging to one of the 2 chase wildcard spots, but as crew chief Mike Ford told me, they're focused only on this race today. All the talk about the chase is for the fans and the media. They're worried most about how they're going to get their car to be its best today. Throughout the race weekend, Hamlin and company have been confident they've had one of the cars to beat, but this is a different day, and with different weather conditions, they're still optimistic. There's always that element of the unknown. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks. And our over-the-wall reporter today is Mark Hollywood Armstrong, changing tires for the 36 car that Mike Skinner will drive today. Hollywood, there was going to be this big atmosphere on Sunday night, easy to get pumped up, little different conditions today. How difficult to get your guys up and going?
Well, Alan, one thing for sure, the weather has not affected the intensity level down here on pit road. With the crews still trying to fight their way into the chase and a lot of money on the line with the Sprint Summer Showdown guys, their crews are really, really pumped for today. Look for a lot of excitement down here, but one thing for sure, look for the pit road to affect the outcome of this race.
I agree with that. Hollywood, have a great day down there. Thanks. Talked with our 4 in-race reporters earlier. They are carrying 4 of our high-definition onboard cameras today. Got some great looks as well from some others in the field. Some really interesting stories, too, from middle one, left-hand column. Kurt Busch won 2 of the last 4 here at this track. Kevin Harvick, lower left, had a really great car in the practice sessions over the weekend. Lower middle, Martin Truex Jr., one of the hottest drivers lately, right?
Yeah, great run last week, 2nd place at Bristol.
And that guy on the lower right.
Man,
yeah,
he needs a win.
Yeah, he needs a win, and he runs well at this racetrack, too.
So we'll ride with those drivers as we go through the day. And our Bush's Beans recipe for success today. NASCAR will put out a competition caution at lap 30 to let the teams get a look at that tire wear.
Yeah, they'll monitor that, and that's a good thing for the teams. And also this high line, low line, we're going to see teams running both ways. It's going to be really fun to watch. And that final pit stop strategy, we never know what to expect there.
Dave Blaney and Mike Skinner have changed rides for the day. Blaney suffering from some kidney stones. He's in the 60. He'll do a start and park. Blaney in the 36. Day and a half late. We are going green in Atlanta. Still side by side for the lead. It's Casey Kane in the 4, Clint Boyer in the 33.
You know, Boyer wants to get a lap led here early so he can get that bonus point. He's going to do it on his first lap.
He's got it.
Casey Kane still in the hunt to make the chase in that number 4 car, but he really needs to win, and this has been a great track for him.
Hey, talking to Clint Boyer this weekend, too, he's very confident of his opportunity here that he can make some things happen on this racetrack today, give himself a shot next week at Richmond to make the chase.
There's Truex moving up the racetrack to the 56 car, racing with Matt Kenseth in the 17 for 5th.
Yeah, with the amount of grip this track has in it right now, that low line is probably going to be the best for at least the next 10 or 15 laps.
Even though we're having this caution on lap 30, you have to be extremely cautious with these tires because with that grip level you're talking about, Andy, you can still wear the tires out very quickly.
Yeah, just an example of how much grip there is. 29.56 that last lap for the leader.
39 Newman, 43 Allmendinger. Allmendinger, there was that wiggle and wobble a little bit that Andy talked about a minute ago.
Yeah, and you have to watch these seams as you see here on the track. They can upset the car quite a bit. It happens more if the track surface is very hot, but you still have to be mindful of that. A.J. Allmendinger, that 43 car, though, he still has a great opportunity to win a race here and get himself situated in the chase.
Another one of those guys between 11th and 20th in points that could possibly get a wild card with a win. Jeff Gordon, 24 car.
Yeah, man, everybody was talking about after the final practice on Saturday. This team been on a roll, getting themselves in position to become really maybe the favorite if you can put someone over 5-time champion Jimmy Johnson as the favorite heading into the chase.
So Gordon in the 24 has put himself up to the 6th position after the initial break. I want to go back just a second. You were talking about the tire wear and so on early. Probably got a couple of different agendas going on, right? Maybe some guys trying to make some ground while others are maybe being a little cautious.
Well, this is a part of the race that you're not going to go out there and risk much to go, to try to get these spots. But you want to test your car out. You want to see what you need maybe to work on this pit stop that's coming up at lap 30. So, yeah, there's some guys out there doing some different things.
Yeah, there's some guys that have the attitude that they want to run extremely hard for these 30 laps so that they can see exactly what this tire wear is going to be. Jamie, how about the 99?
Well, I talked to Carl Edwards right before he got in the car about the tire wear situation, and he said it is going to be fast and furious. With the track temp so cool, these cars are going to be fast, and he was concerned he wouldn't even make it to lap 30 for the competition caution because the tire wear will be that severe, guys.
Yeah, I can imagine they would be very concerned. And looking at these lap times, they have already fallen off a second and a half from that fastest lap we saw Casey Kane run on lap 2. So that means the tires are wearing, the grip level's going away. And I'd be concerned if I was down there on the box.
42 car riding the rim, Juan Pablo Montoya, while ahead of him, here is Kurt Busch in the 22.
Well, Kurt got a really good run, but Matt Kenseth was right in his way. He had to check up. That allowed Montoya to become a part of this.
And that is what we love about Atlanta.
That's it. You've got those 3 options. Problem is there's not that much room whenever you get to the exit of the corner, so you have to be extremely careful on the exit.
And I expected it to take 10 or 15 laps before we started seeing this, but it's happening already here at lap 7.
Montoya started 12th. He has just taken 6th from Kenseth.
Yeah, I think everybody's always thought this was maybe Montoya's best oval track. We've seen him have some really good runs, some opportunities to win races. Even though this has been an off year for him, he could become a factor here today.
Now, while we've been watching some of those races for position back in traffic, Kyle Busch has gotten under Clint Boyer and taken the 2nd spot.
Well, look at Truex get that big run up on the top.
Yeah, Matt Kenseth is one of those, as we see him losing a few spots here. He likes to kind of stay married to that bottom part of the racetrack, bottom middle. He's not much of those rim riders. If he has to do that, he will. But you can see that's affecting him right now.
A couple of different looks of cars than what we're used to seeing in the field today. Carl Edwards, that 99, a little different paint scheme than normal. You'll see Denny Hamlin in the 11 when we get another look at him. Is a little different than the normal look on that car.
Yeah, the 11's a lot different. It looks, you can see that 99 looks similar to what they normally do, but look at this paint scheme on Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, these drivers were just 3 wide coming off of turn 4. Kind of split the 2 car. Brad Keselowski.
That's for 11th spot. Hamlin in the 11 is 11th. Newman right behind him in 12th.
Yeah, I heard Brad Keselowski talking the other night as we were doing interviews in the rain delay. You know, they think a lot of their success has been when they've gone back to these tracks a second time. They don't have any notes from being together, he and Paul Wolfe at this racetrack. He sounded a little more concerned about how they might perform here today.
I tell you, Jeff Gordon is really on the move.
Oh, trouble. That's Bobby Labonte.
Through the grass.
And the caution is out.
See Bobby really do a smart thing there. Once he knew that he had it kind of under control, he let the car back all the way up to the pavement because we had enough rain that he could have gotten stuck down in the grass.
I know they're going to have a competition caution at lap 30, but if I'm sitting down on pit box, I would be thinking about coming down pit road right now and changing those tires, even though they can't put fuel in. They can't put fuel in until that competition caution.
Let's see what happened to Bobby Labonte, who was running 22nd.
Whoa, just jumped out from under him, looks like.
Yeah, and this racetrack starts to flatten out. You give them that banking, you think you've got it under control, maybe a little too much wheel in it. You have to stay off the wall, and it just takes a split second here.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, this is one of the best drivers ever driven this track, and he spun out.
6 wins here. Yeah, does a fantastic job.
Wow.
Well, that's not what you want to see when you're trying to...
Good job, man. All clear. Keep coming. Caution is out. Real good job.
When you're trying to fight for a chase spot like Junior is. Did a nice job of avoiding that.
So everybody continues away cleanly. Labonte will need a little attention to get all that grass off the front grille of his car, and we'll see. I kind of agree, Andy. We'll see a lot of action on pit road here.
Yeah, I heard of wild bull elephants wouldn't keep me from coming down pit road.
Anyway, anybody will look at 2 tires at this racetrack?
I wouldn't right now.
I'd be arguing with my crew chief if he said anything about that. Somebody may try to steal some track position, knowing they'll only have to go about 15, 16 laps.
A herd of wild bull elephants.
I'm telling you, man, I'd want to come down big time. Here they come.
Cleaner stays out. Wow. Little split strategy there. Jeff Gordon moved up to 3rd, Doc.
Absolutely. They said the car was a little snug at the beginning, but the car really came to him. Now, don't touch a thing. Going to be 4 tires. They cannot add fuel. They'll put tires on the outside and inside. Not even a pound of air pressure change. Jeff said the car was that good. Dave.
Kyle Busch called his car pretty good, just a little too snug in the front. They will take 4 tires, wedge out of the left rear for the 18. Jamie?
And Carl Edwards opted to come. He was concerned about that tire wear. 4 tires, going to put some tape on the front grille. Casey Kane, the pole sitter, opted to stay out.
Count 18 cars stayed on the racetrack of the 43 in the field. And a little strategy within as well.
Couple 2-tire guys.
So, early in the going today
fun.
in our Tuesday matinee in Atlanta. First caution out for a Bobby Labonte spin pretty early on in today's race here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series coverage presented today by Pennzoil. We've had a wild round of strategy on this pit stop that we'll recap as we get set for the restart in a moment. First, our Gillette Pro Glide profile this week, focusing on one Tony Stewart in that 14 car. Are you a skeptic or a believer that he can get that win he needs to lock himself into the championship?
I'm beginning to believe it. I tell you, he ran good that first run. He was passing a lot of cars.
Yeah, not to mention that he picked up his first win of 2010 at this very race last year. I think he can do it again here today.
Tony was 17th prior to the pit stops. He did not stop. He's now 7th on the racetrack. And the field greatly shuffled up before this restart. Jeff Gordon gave up third to pit. Let's hear them discuss it.
Yeah, I think it's a smart thing to do, you know. I mean, I'm sure they'll be fine. It's just that when the track's that green, I don't know, you have to see, but, you know, when you start running that high line that early, it wears them out.
Yeah, no, they look good, but I was obviously concerned. Be good, man. You'll drive right through there.
That's exactly why I would have wanted to pit, just because of the unknown and that tire wear. Now they know. They've looked at the tires, and they feel pretty good about it. But this is not a bad move from this team at all. I mean, I would have done exactly the same thing.
So, again, the top 16 cars now have not pitted. 17th place, Kurt Busch. Right side tires only on his pit stop. First guy that was among the previous leaders is Kyle Busch. He was second when he went to pit road. He's 20th now. Watch the difference in speeds and watch the big fan out on this restart as we get ready to go.
Yeah, they'll be passing wherever they can find an opportunity in an open hole here. This is going to be fun.
Kasey Kahne in the 4 is the race leader. Wide, look out.
There's still plenty of room for more.
Yeah, Kasey Kahne must have spun the tires right there. We see that happen.
Oh, he's got against the wall. Looks like Allmendinger. Wow, I told you there was more room.
Holy cow. Little bumper nick there. David Starr in the 95 just bailed out of that, said, I don't like this.
Good idea.
Up front, new leader, Clint Boyer, has gotten through. Brian Vickers moves to second. Denny Hamlin to third. Kasey Kahne shuffled back to fourth.
I found it interesting that Kasey Kahne chose to start on the outside that time after choosing the inside on the start of the race, but he just got a terrible start, so we don't know if that was the right or wrong thing to do.
You mentioned spinning the tires as we see Tony Stewart working on Montoya there for a spot. That's a frequent thing here at Atlanta on those restarts.
Yes, that the front straightaway is just flat, and especially if you stay out on the tires. We'll see it happen with new tires also, but there's no grip out there to be had. You have to be extremely careful.
Yeah, this 18 looks like a freight train coming up through the pack. He got up high on that first lap and passed about 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, I've seen him utilize the top, the middle, and the bottom in making his way forward here in a hurry.
He's got 9 of them since the restart.
Yeah, I'd feel pretty good if I were his charity and fans here today to have an opportunity to collect $1 million each.
For the lead, Brian Vickers, 83, Clint Boyer, 33.
Well, we haven't said that this year. Brian Vickers for the lead. That's nice to see Brian and this Red Bull team have a nice run here today.
And two organizations that have a lot of things going on. Richard Childress Racing and Red Bull Racing. Here's the race for 6th. Kevin Harvick, Juan Pablo Montoya, 29 and 42, and that charging Kyle Busch.
Man, he had a big run down the back straightaway, and he caught these two cars running side by side. I thought he was going to split them.
And he may, yeah.
Yeah, still might.
Back to the lead.
See, Vickers just not able to make that bottom side work on the exit of the corner to get that past place. He'll go to the top side, see if he can make that happen. Denny Hamlin back there in third.
And really, for a driver, that changing lanes around this racetrack is about trying to find the spot on the racetrack that your car's handling is best suited for at that moment.
That's exactly, at that moment, that's the key word right there, Alan, is at that moment. When you have fresh tires, the bottom of the racetrack is going to be your fastest way around. Then you might have to move to the middle or to the very top, but you're just looking for grip to make you go fast.
More spots for Kyle Busch. Give him 5th over Kasey Kahne. As up front, they still swap it out for the lead. Vickers just not able to find a way around Boyer.
Not able to quite get there, but I like the way Brian Vickers, he's being a little bit patient here, given what Clint Boyer, he may get enough to clear him right here. Might have to put a slide job, and Boyer have to give him a little bit of a break.
Oh! Whoa! Sliding too much. Caught the wall.
That's a slide job, okay. All the way back to third after taking the lead. And there's an amount of speed that you can carry off of these corners to where you're going to lose that grip level, and you may think that you've got it well under control, and the next thing you know, you're sideways and right against the wall.
Yeah, we saw the same thing happen to Bobby Labonte coming off turn 4.
And up front again for the lead. This time it's Denny Hamlin in the 11. Working on Clint Boyer.
You can see him try to get as close to that left rear quarter panel of that 33 car Clint Boyer as he could, trying to get a little bit of a side draft. With these cars in particular, you can really make a lot of things happen. You see him loosen up the 33 right there. He's going to try to take the spot down under, get his bonus point for leading the lap right here.
And he does, and right behind them, oh yeah, Kyle Busch restarted 17th on lap 17. He's up to 3rd and working for 2nd. So an anxious moment in the race for the lead off of turn number 2 a second ago has shuffled Brian Vickers from 1st, now all the way back to 4th. Could have been a whole lot worse too. Check this out. Woohoo. New leader coming at you. That yellow car, Kyle Busch, as we return to our coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series presented by Pennzoil at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The stop under the only caution of the race so far for tires that shuffled Kyle from 2nd place back into the early 20s in the running order. Gave him the grip he needed to rocket up through the field in about 9 laps.
Yeah, and it's just not, you think it's only 10 or 12 laps they had on those tires for an advantage, and it still made up a huge difference. You see now the 24 car moved into 3rd, and he's catching the leader pretty quick. Coming up on that 30-lap mark, though, here, so you'll see a caution pretty soon.
Carl Edwards getting really loose down the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like he got his left front down the apron a little bit. Just to give you an idea, though, they're up over 32 seconds now. You talked about that 29.56 or 57 that they ran early on, but as this racetrack takes some rubber, it's going to slow down.
Caution flag out. This is the competition caution. 2nd yellow of the race. So, Kyle Busch stopped under the first caution, took tires, went back into the low 20s in the running order, and essentially in 10 laps, ran from 17th to the lead. Jeff Gordon right there with him. Jeff got himself all the way up to 3rd by this caution flag. Guys like Casey Kane, who did not stop under that first yellow and restarted as the leader. Casey's all the way back to 16th. That's a big change of track position. What happens now?
Well, everybody's coming down pit road this time to get 4 more tires and a new load of fuel, so this is going to kind of reset everything.
Yeah, but it kind of worked really well for Denny Hamlin. Clint Boyer staying out there. They're up there still in the top 5, so it just shows how good handling cars they have that they could stay up there on those tires.
Pit crews getting set to go to work for a 2nd time today. It's time for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award update. Fastest pit crew determined by the winner of each race, the fastest pit time, and your vote. Text the car number to 234567 of your pit crew choice. So, 2nd round of pit stops for the day for some. First pit stops of the day for others, as we work the 2nd caution flag here at lap 31. Here they are. Doc?
45 miles an hour, 2nd stop of the day for Jeff Gordon. So the car starts a little bit snug, left top of your screen there. They will come in and put 4 tires on. Jeff said, don't touch anything. No, the track really comes to us very quickly, and the car does very well on the bottom of the racetrack. They'll top it off with Sunoco fuel. Dave.
Black and yellow 18 of Kyle Busch was leading. They asked him if his car was good. He said, yes, leave it. 4 tires and fuel for Kyle Busch. The 33 of Clint Boyer as well. He will take 4 tires, no changes. Actually, a little air pressure change for Clint Boyer, a little bit tight.
Oh, a little close call there in the center of pit road. That was Denny Hamlin coming out of his stall, and David Starr still going to his. Starr had to drive back around. And that's why you get the plus 33 there.
And no tires. They'll have to come back for tires.
Yeah. So Kyle Busch off pit road first and will hold the race lead as we work the 2nd caution flag today at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Double up for the restart at the Atlanta Motor Speedway NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on a Tuesday, presented by Pennzoil. Kyle Busch leading Denny Hamlin. Kyle's chosen the inside lane. Denny might have had the lane choice if not for a little hiccup and a little jam in traffic on pit road.
You got him.
He had to get on the he had to get on the brakes for David Starr. David looked like he was trying to go for his stall. And, Denny wisely avoided the collision, had to give up a spot, but still a good move.
So Kyle with the lane choice as the leader and has chosen the inside lane on this restart. Caution flag gave Robbie Gordon the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass in the 7 car. He was the first driver a lap down. Now he gets back on the lead lap. Robbie showing in 36th position at the moment. Team a little late arriving at the Speedway on Friday. They had some troubles with their transporter on the way down. As you look across the top of the screen for the ticker, you will see some different colors on it. If it's green, the driver is in the championship. If it's yellow, he's a wild card position at the moment. That may change through the course of the day as they run. Way to track if your driver's in good shape or not. We Go Green, presented by American Ethanol.
See Denny Hamlin spin the tires a lot right there. Stacked everybody in that outside lane up.
It's like Keselowski's going to get a few of those spots.
Oh, that's dicey behind him. See that 43 car with Allmendinger kind of bobbing a little bit in the middle of that traffic?
AJ's trying to make some things happen here today. He was confident that he could run up front and possibly get a win. See, Hamlin still doesn't have his car exactly to his liking yet.
And he's gone from being side by side for the lead back to 6th place. Check that 7th.
Wow, this is tight.
That's hold your breath tight.
Oh man, you can hear Mark Truex feathering that throttle.
Up front, looking for the lead. Jeff Gordon took a peek on Kyle Busch, then slipped back in behind him. Looked like he was going to make a little low bid there in 3.
Yeah, there's some people going to have to do some work on their cars to challenge these 2 drivers. I think they've set the standard here today that they're the 2 cars and teams to beat.
Kyle Busch, one of the drivers in the Sprint Summer Showdown. $3 million if he can win this race. $1 million for him, $1 million for the Kyle Busch Foundation, and $1 million for a fan who was selected, who picked Kyle to win the race in Michigan that he scored a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that's a nice 3 there, $3 million, but the 3 bonus points these drivers could carry into the chase is more important to them at this point in time.
Now, every now and then you see a little speck or 2 on a camera lens. There's some mist, not heavy at times, that has come and gone throughout the morning here. And conditions obviously very good to be racing at speed like they are. But you might see that every now and then.
Yeah, and as a driver, I'll tell you, it'll get your attention still. We've talked about the high speeds at this racetrack, no grip already. You're just hoping that it doesn't affect the track. And right now, it's not anything that's affecting it at all.
Sorting it out single file. Jimmy Johnson, 48 car. That's back in 16th place. Haven't called his number yet today.
Not sure how, but he started back there. And he just hasn't been able to move forward. Trying to make some gains here now. As you see him move to the outside of David Ritterman.
And right behind them, Greg Biffle in the 16 had to go to the back of the field on the pace laps because his team changed engines during the weekend after some problems earlier. NASCAR's 1 engine per weekend rule designed to save teams from going to the expense of building the qualifiers to run 2 laps that they would spend a fortune on in years past.
See Greg Biffle there battling in that 16. He's one of these drivers that we really expect to see after just a few laps go to the top of the racetrack, but not seeing that from Greg right at this point in time. Still trying to make that bottom side work.
Yeah, we don't see a lot of cars working that high lane right now. We saw in the beginning of the race a few cars really made some time up there.
And you begin to see the surface of the track change in the corners as well as the rubber gets worked in as the laps wind on, and that changes where you find that grip on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's the word of the day is grip. Where can you make that happen as your tires get some more time? We see Denny Hamlin now trying to make his way back forward, going by Tony Stewart.
He didn't have a whole lot of grip on that restart, did he there, Vince?
No, he didn't. In fact, although he says it's just a little bit tight coming off a 2, but otherwise hasn't commented on the car. In fact, it was pretty good that first stint. They did not make any changes at all on that initial pit stop just a few laps ago. They just put 4 new tires on it. So Denny Hamlin got shuffled back, but he likes the car, still moving forward. Crew Chief Mike Ford says they've been as confident coming into this race as they've been in a long time. That may be bad news for the others.
I like what I'm hearing from a couple of drivers here, talking about their cars being tight at the start of a run. I think by everything we've heard from the Truck Series to the Nationwide Series, these cars loosen up as they get laps on the tires here. Kind of back to old-style racing some, where you had to start your car out a little bit tight to be good throughout a run.
Yeah, we heard Jeff Gordon say that. His car was just snug at the beginning of the run, and it has been just a little snug, but now it's starting to come around. He's getting ready to take the lead away from Kyle Busch.
Starting to search around for that line where he has the optimal grip and see if he can find a way around that 18 and grab the lead.
It seems like with this new car, the rear grip goes away before the front does, and that's why you will hear a guy say his car's snug, but that's good to start a run.
Jeff Gordon already has clinched a place in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Said he feels his team is getting momentum and getting stronger as the year goes on and thinks he's going to be a factor.
Yeah, I talked to his crew chief, Alan Gustafson. He's very confident. I mean, just in tone of his voice. Now we got a real race for the lead.
Yeah, I think he's going to be able to get it off of turn 2 here. Now you can see him get on that right rear quarter panel, slow Kyle down a little bit entering turn 1. He'll use that momentum to take the lead.
So Gordon powering by Kyle Busch and will become the 6th different driver to lead this race in the early going at Atlanta. Those top 2 have put a little bit of a gap between themselves and 3rd place Clint Boyer. Our Tuesday matinee still in its early stages. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Atlanta. Coverage presented by Pennzoil. There's the race for the lead. Final race of the Sprint Summer Showdown is today's 500-miler here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. The Sprint Summer Showdown presented by the HTC Evo 3D. The 4 drivers who, if they could win today, could earn that $3 million jackpot. There's the update on where they're running. 2nd and 4th for Busch and Keselowski. 18th and 27th for Ambrose and Menard.
Yeah, 2 good chances right now up there inside the top 5.
So Kyle Busch right now the highest running of the Sprint Summer Showdown drivers today here in Atlanta. Let's go up to speed with Nationwide Insurance and check in on some of the front runners. Jeff Gordon out in front, Doc.
Thank you very much, Alan. There's the leader, Jeff Gordon, the 4-time Atlanta winner. You know, when I asked Alan Gustafson, his crew chief, to tell me about your driver, he said, you know what? Jeff Gordon is the X factor. He's like a Tom Brady with the New England Patriots. He said, if you surround him with a good team and just getting close, he will execute flawlessly and get you to victory lane. There's an incredible comfort knowing we have our own X factor in that 24 car. Dave.
Doc, remember the last time these guys got to make major changes on their race car was Sunday morning. That was 2 days ago. I asked Dave Rogers if he was tuning his car that morning for a day race or a night race. He said no, neither one. He said our car's been both directions and we're not exactly sure what we'll have. Certainly what they have had is a very fast race car. Doc, back to you.
Back in 3rd, Kevin Harvick. We told you they have not had a top 5 finish with this 29 car in almost 3 months. Ouch. Now they won 3 races early, but it said they had that summer slump and said enough is enough. That's why they brought this car that won at Charlotte May and had all the updates on it. The car was going to be safe for Chicago for the chase. No, we're not saving a thing. Our chase starts today. We got to build some momentum and get back in the hunt. Vince.
Tony Stewart started 20th. He's having a pretty good day today, wouldn't you say? He's all the way up to 4th. They made a wedge adjustment on that first pit stop, but still a little too free on exit. And this guy, how about his weekend? Of course, we were rained out yesterday, so Stewart went to the Illinois State Fairgrounds, ran a modified at Du Quoin, came from the back to finish 2nd, then headed over to Indianapolis for the NHRA U.S. Nationals. This guy loves this sport, and he's having a good day. Loves his race car, Dave.
Vince Clint Boyer still with a shot at making the chase. Has to make today very, very good. His 33 car has been predictable, but it's been on both sides of the handling issue. Start of the day, it was a little hard to turn when he gets to this point. Now, it's a little bit too easy to turn when he gets to that point. Went from tight to loose. Vince?
The 11 car of Denny Hamlin having a good run. They slipped back on that last restart, but he's not too unhappy with the car. Said it's just a little bit snug. Otherwise, things are going well for Denny Hamlin. They're coming off a good finish at Bristol last week where they finished 7th. Remember, they've got one of the 2 wild card spots. They believe they are a championship contender. They need to start running like it. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks. And there is Kurt Busch, winner of 2 of the last 4 here in Atlanta, running in 7th spot now. 37 cars on the lead lap. Robbie Gordon, Joe Nemechek, Michael McDowell, Travis Kvapil, and Dave Blaney have gone to the garage and retired from the race that Jeff Gordon leads. Chevy brings you Drive It Like You Want It. Enter for a chance to win a new Chevy Silverado and a trip to the Texas Motor Speedway. And meet Team Chevy drivers Mark Martin and today's leader, Jeff Gordon. Visit driveitlikeYouWantIt.com now. About to hit the 100-mile mark of today's 500-mile NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. Live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, Jeff Gordon out in front, one of 6 different drivers that have led the race so far. Jeff driving for Hendrick Motorsports, by far the best faring of the drivers from that powerhouse team.
Yeah, they must not have shared their information with the other guys because they're really struggling. I've been watching Jimmy Johnson a lot, and it looked like after that restart he was kind of making his way forward, but really sliding back now.
There's the gap from Jeff back to 2nd place Kyle Busch. Yellow car there, and looking and looking and looking to find Mr. 5-time.
Wow, we're waiting a long time.
Yes, sir. Play a little song, whistle a little tune. There he is. That's Jimmy back in 21st place. Make that 22nd place, 18 seconds behind the race leader. This replay from a couple laps ago might give us an idea why.
Wow, he's just chasing the back end. You can see that, man, just so loose.
Off of turn 2.
Yeah, and he'd be in the majority here today with that very
Look at it right
thing
there.
happening.
Just sideways right there.
Yeah, just trying to...
Rear is gone.
Yeah, he's just talking about the right rear tire is gone on this car now.
Yeah, they need to hit pit road because that thing's probably worn to the cord.
Last time everybody was in was at lap 32. I figured we'd see everybody about lap 72 because I don't think they'll run a full fuel load.
I don't think you'll see that 48 run a full fuel load.
The drivers aren't going to want to, I'll assure you.
Ryan Newman there racing Johnson for 22nd place. Who'd have thought that?
There's your pole sitter right in front of him.
Yep. Casey Kane in the 4. One of the other Hendrick cars we saw on that tracker a minute ago, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Right, bubble guy trying to race his way into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup at a track that's historically been pretty good for him. Jr. back in 28th place right now. Said this a minute ago.
Car drives crooked. Loose, crooked. Drives like the rear end's bent.
I've heard that comment before here. This track is just so loose and slick that it'll make a driver, think that there's something absolutely broke on the car.
And some of the things they do to these cars to help them turn, to get some downforce on them, things. We watched Junior go through the corner.
That is crooked.
I don't know if it's bent, but it's certainly hung out for sure. But that's just a product of what they do to try to make something, get side force, downforce on this car. These 2 drivers are really having a battle today.
This has been the best race I've seen. Just all the way around. They've been racing side by side. And what I love about it, you see Harvick, he's really working that all the way down to the bottom. And even putting that left tire below that yellow line. And then you got Stewart up top, and you can see they're just having at it.
Yeah, somebody has sent me a message that Tony Stewart, I talked about how bad these seams were, that Tony was actually using these seams to get his car to turn a little bit, using the left front tire to get in that seam for a little bit in some of the corners at times when his car's a little bit tight through the center to help his car to turn. So just shows these drivers will use and find anything they can.
And here comes Denny Hamlin to spoil the party. His car looks good right now.
Hamlin sliding between 2 of the pre-race favorites were Harvick and Stewart. Harvick right now running in 3rd, Stewart 5th, Hamlin in 4th, behind Kyle Busch the runner-up, and Jeff Gordon out in front of this race just past 100 miles. Green flag pit stops on the way. Jeff Gordon leading at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, a Tuesday race, just the second one on a Tuesday since 1978. Green flag pit stops have begun, Vince.
And the two of Brad Keselowski going to make a 4-tire change. Keselowski been asking what other drivers are doing as far as the line is concerned, trying to find a good, comfortable balance for him in the 2-car.
And now that the first of the lead lap cars has made a move to pit road, here they all come, Jamie.
And Jamie McMurray down and away. They were a little bit loose. He just wanted an air pressure adjustment, 4 tires. You see A.J. Allmendinger in the 43 in his box, down and away.
Others coming and going from pit road. Casey Kane is leaving. Clint Boyer has been in. Montoya, Truex, Vickers, Mark Martin, Jeff Burton, and Kyle Busch is in, Dave.
He says a little more rear grip would be needed in the 18 right now, so that'll be a track bar adjustment for him. 4 fresh tires, full of Sunoco fuel for Kyle, who did lead earlier today. Right now gives up 3rd position on the track to make this pit stop.
And the leader, Jeff Gordon, hits pit road. This will be at the end of his 78th lap. And the Hendrick team goes to work, Doc.
They asked Jeff Gordon, how's the car? He said 3 words, really good everywhere. That sums it up, guys. Minimal adjustment, a little bit of air pressure, a little bit of track bar. Vince.
The 11 car of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin says it's still tight in the center of 1 and 2. They took a quarter round to wedge out 4 tires and a fuel, filling it full of Sunoco fuel. And Hamlin goes backwards to try to get out. Doc?
Jimmy Johnson, you heard the fact that the car was sliding and right rear tire was gone. He somehow held on, came in 4 tires, air pressure adjustment. It's hard, as you heard Andy Petrie say, to keep the rear end of the car under you. The rear tires wear much quicker than the front tires, and that was the issue for the 48. Jamie.
Carl Edwards very confident about the race car, just telling his team, be patient, be calm, we're going to be good. He's saying he wants a track bar adjustment, 1 round down, take a little bit of tape off that front grill, 4 tires, they'll fill them up with Sunoco fuel. Carl Edwards been running there, he's just poking inside the top 10 there before his stop.
And just like that, that's going to cycle everybody through pit stops.
At one point, it looked like we were under caution flags. Many cars just came down pit road at one time.
You just cannot afford to give up that kind of speed. Once those cars, those lead lap cars, start making those pit stops, everybody has to come.
Yes, 2.5, 3 seconds here per lap.
Jeff Gordon had a 3-second lead over Denny Hamlin when they went to pit road. We'll see how much that backing up on pit road cost Hamlin on his stop as the scoring cycles out. The AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. Kevin Harvick currently in the lead. You can help determine the standings. Vote from your AT&T phone by texting the car number to 234-567 for the pit crew you think is the fastest and most valuable. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on a Tuesday from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil. We're just past the 1/4 mark of the race, and Jeff Gordon in that 24 is the race leader, an event postponed from Sunday night as the remnants of Tropical Storm Lee kind of played havoc with the Atlanta area for the last day and a half or so. Gap from the leader, Jeff Gordon, to the second place car, Kyle Busch, is that much. It's 2.5 seconds. Kyle was 3rd before the pit stops and was 3.4 seconds behind and gained ground despite this.
He just gained so much on those decels, how he gets down to the pit road speed, and then it gets back up to speed. He made up, what, a couple of seconds on Jeff Gordon or more.
Yep. Went from 3 seconds behind to 1 second behind, despite getting jammed in the traffic there, although now he's losing a little bit of that ground
and looking
again.
at the pit stops, Jeff Gordon's pit stop was just as good as Kyle.
Now, Denny Hamlin, you heard Vince call on the pit stop a minute ago, had to back up on his pit road. Hamlin was second when he came into the pits. When he came off of pit road, he was back in 6th place.
It says he came down pit road. Regan Smith was already in his pits, so that got Denny pointed in the wrong direction, which was going to be fine until he had a car to come around him, go into his pit right here, which would be the 32.
Yeah, Mike Bliss pulls in, and he's kind of hung out a little bit too, and so Denny knows he's going to just have to back up, and he does it a really good job of doing that. Still lost a lot of time.
So instead of being 3 seconds behind, now he's 7 seconds behind the race lead in that 11 car. So another interesting thing to look at when we look at race leader Jeff Gordon. Talked about Hendrick Motorsports and Gordon running well and some of the other Hendrick cars not faring as well earlier in the race, is that Jeff's about to put a couple of his teammates a lap down.
He's going to get it done on Junior here after a few laps, but Jimmy Johnson's the next one up ahead, and he's actually the fastest car on the track right now looking at the lap time.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, who's just ahead, as we see now Gordon going around Dale Jr. to put him a lap down. But Jimmy Johnson was behind the 88 of Dale Jr. when they came out after the pit stops. You can see he's moved up ahead, as Andy said, been the fastest car on the track the last few laps.
So Dale Jr. in 28th place and goes a lap down. There's Jimmy Johnson trying to put some distance between himself and the leader, Gordon.
Yeah, when they came out, Jeff Gordon was only about 5 car lengths behind Jimmy Johnson at that time. So Jimmy, the adjustments they made, we saw him making a track bar adjustment on Jimmy Johnson, and during that stop must have been exactly what that car needed.
Conditions changing.
Yeah, and they have a totally different racetrack here now than what they started this race, and it will continue to change as more rubber gets laid down on the track, and someone with the experience of a Jimmy Johnson and Chad Canals, they're ready to make those adjustments on their cars.
It went through a big change from the very beginning to that second stop, but now it's kind of stabilized a little. It will change some, but now I think the track will be more like it's going to be the rest of the day.
If the sun was out and shining down brightly on the track, then it would really continue to evolve drastically as the race went on, right?
Yeah, that's one thing we have here is just a consistent overcast, and that right there will keep the track temp consistent. Oh, there's Bobby Labonte.
Just hold it here, hold it. We're flying off the 2 here.
Yeah, that was not as lucky this time as he was that first one.
It's killed. Done for the day.
Third caution, 2 of them have involved this 47 car today. A spin off turn 4 at lap 11 while running 22nd at that time. Didn't hit anything, just a big slide through the grass, but this time off of turn number 2 while running 30th. That's heavy damage.
Yeah, there's fluid there.
Yeah, and if you were thinking that Dale Jr. was going to be the one getting the free pass here, unfortunately, Jeff Gordon, for those Earnhardt fans, Regan Smith had just gotten passed by Jeff Gordon, so he's going to be the one who's going to be getting that back. Watch what happened to Bobby Labonte. Again, a late exit, just like off of turn 4. This car just snapping around, a hard hit to the inside wall, but there is that safer barrier there, thankfully. So the 6-time Atlanta winner is not going to call this one a fun trip to his favorite track. Good to see Bobby climbing out of the car. That was a big hit. Let me out of here. Yeah. This shows how difficult this racetrack is. If your car is just not there, you have a champion and a 6-time winner like Bobby Labonte really struggling here today.
As DJ mentioned a minute ago, the caution giving Regan Smith the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass. First driver a lap down. Now he gets back on the lead lap. Smith, the Darlington Southern 500 winner, in 27th place at the moment. Big break for Jimmy Johnson. Gets the gain a lot of ground on Jeff Gordon there.
Yeah, it was a big break, but they earned that one. They made that car a lot better on that stop, that last green flag stop, that allowed him to drive away from Jeff Gordon.
And obviously the pit road is open. Doc?
29 car, left top of your screen. Kevin Harvey said the car would not turn in the middle of the corner. The previous stop, they put the air pressure back in. He said now the car is great. Do not touch it. 4 tires and fuel only. Left lower side, Jeff Gordon said the car really getting free now. Can't get on the bottom of the racetrack. Going to put a half around a wedge back in the left rear. Dave.
Right, Kyle Busch needed to get the front end turning a little bit better. Air pressure change, 4 tires, wedge back in. Vince.
Of Denny Hamlin, he says it's pretty good, but a little free in center. They made a track bar adjustment, 4 tires for Denny Hamlin.
And again, people in the grass.
Always see it here in Atlanta.
Denny Hamlin gaining back a little of the track position lost on the last stop. Wondering how heavy, if any, there was contact between Kevin Harvick and Matt Kenseth on that pit road jam up. Let's watch. I don't think that was very serious. We'll have the restart when we come back to Atlanta. Doubled up for the restart here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, just past 150 miles in today's 500-mile NASCAR Sprint Cup Series event. Remember today, the finale of the Sprint Summer Showdown presented by the HTC Evo 3D. 4 drivers qualifying by winning the preceding races. If they can win today, get themselves $3 million. $1 million for the charity, $1 million for the driver himself, and $1 million for a lucky fan who was selected. And right now, Kyle Busch, highest running of those drivers, in second position. He's done a lot of leading this season, but so far today, Jeff Gordon has done most of the leading. For more NASCAR stats, go to sprint.com/speed. Kyle and Jeff going to be lined up alongside each other for this restart.
Yeah, Jeff chose the outside, which surprises me a little bit. We'll see how this works off. I'm not sure, Andy, like you said, I'm not sure you can hold Kyle Busch off either way, but we'll see.
Kyle Busch is so fast on these restarts.
Remember, spinning the tires, losing grip, been a problem for some of these drivers today up front on restarts. If I hadn't said it, somebody would have done it. I said it, nobody did it.
Well, Kyle Busch did just a little bit, but man, he's so good with that throttle that he's got it back under control.
Yeah, but Gordon getting a big run up off the outside.
Guess that's what he had in mind when he chose that high lane.
Bobby Labonte has been released from the medical center. We'll talk to Bobby in a minute. First, side by side for the lead, Gordon, Kyle Busch, and Matt Kenseth up on the pit stops in hot pursuit in that 17 car.
Wow, that's about a dead heat right there. But Kyle Busch did lead the lap back to the line. So Jeff Gordon getting a good run off of turn 2 here, though. Back in front.
Kind of shutting off that lane for Kyle to come back on. Bobby Labonte involved in 2 of the day's cautions. He's with Jamie.
And he says he's okay. Bobby, spin earlier and you saved it. This time not so lucky. What happened?
No, we weren't that happy with it on I guess it was Friday or Saturday. We made some changes on it, and I think we might have went the wrong way a little bit. And the car was really, really tight in the center, making it so loose off, so loose on entry. And the grip level went away like a light switch went off about 7 laps. So the guys worked real hard. We tried to do all we could do. You know, Busch's Makes Mean Toyota wasn't what we wanted it to be, but obviously ended our day quickly today. But excited about next weekend at Richmond. You know, I feel like we got a better program there than we do here. And we were just trying some stuff today that didn't work out for us like we wanted to.
Well, it is chilly out here, and Bobby Labonte's fire suit is soaked from sweat. These drivers are working hard, Alan.
Tough day for the former champion. Bobby Labonte out of it in Atlanta. Speaking of former champions, Matt Kenseth into the hunt now after some good pit work by that 17 team. He's up to 3rd.
Well, they always do a great job in the pits from Matt, but he does a good job getting in and out too. But that crew is solid week in and week out. And Matt Kenseth, the driver that I think we'll have to watch for here today. He's just slow and steady. Not slow, he's fast and steady, I should say that. But he doesn't push the issue until it's time.
Somebody else I've had my eye on back in the pack is that 16 car of Greg Biffle. Mentioned it before, but he started at the back of the field after an engine change during the weekend, and he's worked his way up inside the top 15.
He's really worked hard. He's tried to make a move to go to the outside of Jamie McMurray, allowed Carl Edwards to get on his inside, but Biffle has been solid here so far this afternoon.
Now, when you got a good race car and you start at the back of the field, sometimes those first 15 or 20 are a little easier than when you start getting toward the front and have to start passing.
Yeah, that's where he's at now. He's going to have to start really working hard on these cars. When he passes Carl Edwards at Atlanta, that's tough. You see Jamie McMurray right there. A lot of good cars.
You can see just behind there, Tony Stewart up on the high side, trying to make his way back forward. Vince, not too good of a pit stop for those guys in Tony Stewart's pit.
No, that's been unfortunate, DJ, because their race car on the track has been real good. In fact, it's been good since they unloaded here at Atlanta, and more of the same today, but they had a slow stop on the right side last time around.
All right, guys, we'll get those back. Don't worry about it. It's early. 10-4, bud. It's early. Sorry about that. Make it up to you. Yeah, all right, guys. Keep your heads up here. We've got a long day still here. We will get these back.
Tony Stewart, a 3-time winner here at Atlanta, including last year when he led 176 laps. They've got the right setup for this place. Jamie?
Well, Casey Kane has slipped way back. Our pole sitter early on said it felt like his splitter was up in the air and his race car was out of the track. They opted to stay out on the first stop, and then on the second they tried to fix him up, and that didn't do it. But after the last stop, said the car is a little bit better, but he's still back mired in 17.
And kind of a theme for this 4 car is struggling to put a complete race together during this summer. I want to go back to that radio we just heard from Tony Stewart. And people want to talk about a changed Tony Stewart from what maybe he might have been 5 or 8 years ago. If that didn't illustrate it.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Tony is a different person. Yeah, I think he's certainly matured in being a car owner now as we see Jimmy Johnson come into this mix. But yeah, Tony is much more calm in these type situations. And certainly on days when you have a good race car, it's a little easier to be that knowing he has a lot of laps that he can make up this ground.
Yeah, he sounded like he was patient. He said he's got a lot of time. But I'll tell you, those bad pit stops can really ruin your day. He's back here in traffic, and that car's nowhere near as good as it was when he was running up there in 3rd, 4th spot.
And the problem you can get into in that situation, Steve Johnson battling here with Montoya, is if you start making adjustments on your car by what it did back into traffic versus what you were doing when you were out front or up in the top 5.
Jimmy Johnson back in 20th place. Check it, 19th as he's gotten by Montoya now. And Montoya and Paul Menard, one of the Sprint Summer Showdown drivers, back here racing for a spot.
Let's see Paul making his way forward. Jimmy Johnson, good race car now. Boy, he did a great job of hanging on to that car and actually not getting himself in a bad position, getting into the wall or something. The adjustments they've made now have been really good.
And Menard with a lot on the line today. A win could get him a spot in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. And of course that win will get him that $3 million Sprint Summer Showdown jackpot. He's got to find a way to get back to the front, no matter what it takes. So a look at the top 5. Jeff Gordon out in front of Kyle Busch. Those two have been the top 2 in the race for a good stretch here this last little while. Running right behind Kyle Busch, Matt Kenseth in the 17, who moved up to 3rd after that last set of pit stops and restart we had a little bit ago. Then a couple of seconds back, you'll find Kevin Harvick in 4th. 29 car looking pretty good today, and Denny Hamlin in 5th, trying to make up some of the ground lost on a pit stop earlier where he had to throw it in reverse and back up because he was in his pit box in some traffic. Let's go up to speed a little deeper into the field, starting with a guy having a really solid run in 6th place, Doc.
And that would be A.J. Allmendinger there trying to hold off the 22 car of Kurt Busch. A.J. said, he began the day 8 points back on Denny Hamlin, 14th in the point standings. He said, this is my best intermediate track. He said, if I can get this win today, which means I will finish in front of the 11 car, we've got a shot. I run well in Atlanta. I run very well in Richmond. We've got a shot to get in the chase. He says, nobody remembers who finished 14th or 15th in the points. That's why we have got to get it done. Dave.
On that last pit stop, Doc, Kurt Busch's car had gone to the loose side, to the very loose side, and you guys have talked all day upstairs about how that's a bad condition. So they undid all of the adjustments that they had put into this race car so far. It's a little bit better. You can see him working the wheel right there, but got the bad loose out of it that last time. The 6 of David Reagan. His hometown of Unadilla, Georgia, not far from here. So I asked Drew Bickensturfer if they circled this race on the calendar. He said not so much because it's home for David, but because we've run so well at the 1.5-mile tracks this year. We feel like we've got great horsepower and a great package for these places. David's showing it so far again here. The 33 of Clint Boyer. Remember, he's trying to work his way into the chase. This car has been on both sides of the board right now for Clint today, and the car during this run seems to be balanced for him. He was in 11th, so he's back up at least into the top 10. Vince?
Running in 10th is the 2-car Brad Keselowski. He's gained 12 positions the last 5 races, 2 wins, a 2nd and a 3rd. Crew Chief Paul Wolf said the success keeps raising the bar of expectations. It's a little easier when you're under the radar. That hasn't been the case this weekend. 2nd place battle, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch going at it. Alan?
And the 17 sliding through.
Yeah, about the last 5 laps, Matt Kenseth has been the fastest car on the racetrack.
Momentum. Matt Kenseth winning earlier this season. Been a little while since he's been to victory lane. The run for the championship coming up. Jeff Gordon strong last week, again this week. How important really is momentum when you're looking at a 10-race stretch to the title?
I think it's huge. I mean, momentum, in my experience, has been one of the biggest factors. If you can get that thing on a roll, go back to when on one corner road with Harry Gandis, his crew chief, and that kind of momentum just it takes you so much. I really believe that this 17 has it, and if they can keep it going like this, going into the chase,
won't run.
They'll be a factor.
Matt winning at Texas in April, Dover in May, and Doc, he's running second now.
And exactly what Andy Petrie was talking about. This is the car they had built for the chase. This car was supposed to run Kansas. I said, well, you know what? Let's find out how the latest and greatest Rock Speedway car is. Let's take it to Atlanta. And they are all smiles, thinking this car is good here. How good would it be when the chase starts and they head to Kansas?
Yeah, and again, Kenseth, Jimmy Fennig, good combination, and going to be a factor in this championship, I believe. That radio you heard a second ago was this 00 car for David Ruderman.
Yeah, they got some kind of issue under the hood here. This is one of those tracks that's kind of hard on engines.
Jeff Gordon, a 4-time winner at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, led the most laps at Bristol last week, but he finished third. He's led the most laps so far today, but we've got a long way to go in this one. And live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the caution flag is out for a 4th time in the race. Debris up in turns 3 and 4. I believe very possibly came from Andy Lally's 71 car. And the caution, there you see the right side all scraped up on that machine.
Yeah, he's got tires. Yeah, he's got tires back on it now, but you can see right there he blew a tire going in the corner. A lot of debris coming off of that tire.
And so that's the reason for yellow flag number 4 on the day here in Atlanta. The pit road is closed, so no one has been allowed to come in just yet. And the drivers with a chance to regroup here under this yellow flag that is still shy of the halfway mark of this race. I think a lot of drivers are going to heave a sigh of relief for that caution flag because, for example, Kyle Busch really sliding back. He looked like he was really wrestling this 18 car. Watch Kyle's car in reference to that yellow line.
Wow. Particularly the left front tire to the left rear. That's out of control. That's what Andy was talking about. Watch these guys at this particular racetrack, more than any other that we go to, get these cars completely sideways and be able to save them. It's just incredible.
And for fans of the sport's most popular driver, guess what? Free pass. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was the first car a lap down. Aaron's lucky dog, free pass for him. He's going to come back around and rejoin the lead lap.
Yeah, he's still struggling with his race car, though. Even though he's going to get this free pass, they've got some work to do on this 88 machine.
He's back in 27th spot. Pit road going to be open this time, so for Tony Stewart's team, lost a lot of ground last stop, chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah, they need a solid stop. The last 2 stops of the 14 haven't been that good, but here they come.
Matt Kenseth will hit quickly, Doc.
Yeah, Matt's loving the car. They went back on the air pressure a little bit ago. He said 4 tires, fuel, no changes. Don't even touch the grill. Don't clean anything, leave it alone. That's left top, left bottom of your screen. Pushing a rubber in the left rear for Jeff Gordon. He said, guys, it's got to be tighter. I can't run down low. That's why he chose the outside on the restart. Dave.
Kyle Busch said Matt Kenseth passed him because he could run a better U-shape. Kyle's car too loose in and off. 4 tires, track bar, air. Vince.
Denny Hamlin a little snug. They're going to free it up with some wedge out, 4 tires, and a little air pressure adjustment.
And that time taken to push that spring rubber in as called on the Jeff Gordon pit stop is going to cost him.
Cost him 3 spots coming off pit road.
Matt Kenseth, crew getting the job done once again. Get him out first.
Used to call them the Killer Bees when their sponsor colors were black and gold. Maybe we'll call them the Purple Posse now. Getting the job done on pit road here in Atlanta. Just past 200 miles of today's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series 500 miler at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coverage presented by Pennzoil, and about set to wrap up the fourth caution of the race, where the lead changed hands on pit stops. Jeff Gordon now back to fourth. Matt Kenseth will lead this field to the restart. Talking about Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting the free pass under the yellow back in 27th spot. This on his radio a minute ago.
Yeah, what I need to know is early on you say it bangs the ground and then it goes away. Is it on the splitter for sure, or is it just riding that rough? I can't be for sure. I'm about 75% sure. Get the damn engineer out there, put a suit on somebody, get out there and look at it. I mean, we got time. I don't think I could ever be for sure unless you strap me to the hood.
Don't strap me to the hood, but it is something that's very difficult as a driver, but you have to think with low air pressure, if that's, and then it goes away some, that's exactly what's happening.
Dr. Letarte, crew chief on the pit box, trying to diagnose it. And that patient, that race car, can be awfully finicky at times. Kyle Busch has got to slow up. Let Matt Kenseth catch back up to him.
Yeah, and there goes Harvick around. Man, he saved it somehow.
I don't know how he did
I don't
that.
either. I don't understand how he saved that car.
You'd have to think there may be a penalty for it coming for Kyle Busch here.
That's pretty pronounced right there, how far ahead he was. He did give it back.
He gave it back, yeah.
That might have saved him right there.
The leader is Matt Kenseth. He's supposed to be the guy that gets to the finish line on the restart.
The way that works, so if you give it back, you know, in a reasonable amount of time, which going through 1 and 2 would be a reasonable amount of time, they won't penalize you.
So whether Matt spun the tires or something, it put the onus on Kyle to wait, and that stacked up the traffic behind. And they're lucky they didn't have that big wreck when you saw Harvick getting knocked around and everybody jamming up.
It looked like actually that Kyle just was rolling ahead. You see right here, what's Harvick?
Yeah. You can see Kenseth also.
Wow.
Gordon was right on Kenseth's bumper, so he was having, or either taking it really easy, trying not to spin the tires.
18 took off early. That's a black flag, I think. Outside. I'll say he's checking up. Checking up. Outside. 43 units in their right rear. Saying it. Inside, inside, inside. Inside.
Some fast hands on Harvick.
Oh, man, they make that look easy. But it's not, I promise. That was a great job by Kevin Harvick.
So Matt Kenseth establishes in the lead. Jeff Gordon second. Kyle Busch back to third. On pit road is Casey Kane looking to turn behind the wall, it looks like.
It's like a second Toyota engine that's giving some trouble here, if that's what that is. Jamie?
Well, you guys, I'm just walking with Kenny Francis right now going back to the garage, and he told me on that restart when everybody got together, Casey got some nose damage. They think it knocked the radiator out. Now remember, he was 15th in points coming into this race and hoping to have a good finish to make it the chase wild card.
That's too bad. That does look like what happened there. You can see the steam coming out of the overflow.
And we always seem to have a restart or two here at Atlanta where they front somebody in the front either doesn't get going, spins the tires for some reason, something happens that jams everybody up, and we have something just like that to take place.
Tony Stewart, 11th to 6th in 2 laps on the restart. He was able to take advantage of all the mayhem in front of him. And racing there with Carl Edwards.
Yeah, sometimes you're just in the right spot when all of that takes place and can make up a few spots. Tony's got a good race car here today, though.
Trying to decide if that's that white thing on his grill, if that's a little trash on the grill, or if that's tape there.
It may be a little bit of trash. Tony's car doesn't get going. It takes it about 10 or 12 laps to really get to his, what Tony really likes. See him really sliding it around off of turn 2.
It looks like there's a little bit of debris on that grill, Alan, but we heard Matt Kenseth say on his last stop that he didn't even want to clean the grill because the temperatures were cool and the car was driving great. And actually, if you get a little bit of that debris on the grill and you're not hot, it can help your car.
So Tony running in 7th spot right now, riding with Kurt Busch, who's trying to take that position from him in the 22. Behind him, Kevin Harvick, 29, trying to make up some of the lost ground on the restart when he got knocked around.
And you know, the worst thing there is the way he was sliding that car around. He really heated up the rear tires quicker than what you want to. So it could be a situation that Kevin had to just kind of cool things, get the air pressures back up in all the tires to get going forward again.
Like you need to let that fluid in the power steering unit cool off too, as much as he was steering that car.
And your heart rate get back to normal. As normal as you can driving 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, with the car sliding around sideways on you. Brad Keselowski in that too. What a run over this last month and a half or so for the young man. The testing crash on the road course north of town here at Road Atlanta. Then he goes on and wins the race at Pocono. Picks up another win at Bristol in the night race last week. Racing for the $3 million Sprint Summer Showdown jackpot today.
Yeah, it's been nice to talk about this team. Most of their runs have been up in the top 5. He's in inside the top 10 right now as he battles for that 8th spot with his teammate. But, yeah, just really solid. And, you know, it's as good as they've been, as crazy as it may sound, we have to put this group in consideration for championship contenders.
Oh, I have to agree with you 100% on that one. Just because that momentum factor we were talking about, nobody has momentum coming into this race than that car does. Vince?
And Paul Wolf, the crew chief, wasn't particularly optimistic about the kind of car they had today. Said, I'm just not real sure in the conversation I had with him before. And they've been working on it, but all in all, it's been pretty good for Keselowski. Says it's a little tight at the start, but then it starts to get better. You know, one thing Paul Wolf told me is he's just been amazed at how Brad has handled all of the distractions from the injuries and also the success of recent weeks. And he said the focus just keeps getting deeper and deeper. And we continue to see this team get better and better.
And Keselowski there running in that 8th position ahead of Kevin Harvick as you see Jimmy Johnson slide ahead of Kurt Busch. Johnson chipping his way forward in this field up into the top 10.
Yeah, they've done an incredible job because that car was nowhere in the beginning of this race.
Kyle Busch running 3rd. Remember the restart a minute ago where he got a better get-go than Matt Kenseth and had to slow up?
That was a pretty ugly chicken start right there. I had to watch my mirror so I didn't beat him by too much. That was pathetic. Hop in that, but he's consistent. He does that all the time. Now we know his game. Glad he showed his hand.
I guess we're talking about Kenseth and the way he started that race.
And up front, here comes Jeff Gordon.
Well, we wondered about making a change to that 24 car, but it looks like it might be the right thing. Looks like he started maybe a little bit tight on this restart, which is what Jeff was wanting for his car. But it's really coming on now as he takes the lead back away from Kenseth.
I was a little skeptical about making a change on a car that was that good and something that takes that long to change. I mean, it really does cost you spots to put a spring rubber in, and they decided to do that. Looks like it is paying off, though.
If you just joined us, Jeff Gordon was leading most of this race on the last pit stop a little bit ago. His team took the time to place a spring rubber in the left rear of the car, went from 1st to 4th on the restart. He just charged back up in 10 laps to take over the top spot. We are closing on the midway point of today's race in Atlanta. It is Jeff Gordon out in front, seeking his 3rd win of the season. Oil. 9 laps shy of the halfway mark of this race. Jeff Gordon's led 89 of the 153 that have been run so far. Took him just 10 laps after a recent pit stop to charge his way back to the front after falling to 4th, having a spring rubber put into his Chevrolet. There's Matt Kenseth in 2nd, a little ways back right there to the new 3rd place driver. That is Denny Hamlin with David Reagan in the 6 car up to 4th and Carl Edwards in the 99 to 5th. Now Kyle Busch was up there in this mix a minute ago, and watch this whole exchange. Left of the screen, Kyle.
Man, and get out of it.
Yeah. So Denny Hamlin tries to go by him, but wait, there's more.
Here comes Reagan. Oh, and wait a minute, where's Carl? There he is.
Reagan having a good solid day. Back to 4th now after Denny Hamlin. After all of that settled down, Hamlin went back into 3rd.
6 and 99 racing for a spot, 4th and 5th. Teammates for Roush Fenway Racing. How about the driver of that 6 car, David?
Well, how about all the Roush guys, Alan? 13 races since they've won this season. That's hard to believe. They're all looking good as Carl gets by. But for David Reagan, crew chief Drew Blickensderfer told me this morning that car was just a little tighter than they wanted it to be, but it still turned in the center. Guys, as we've heard people talk about Atlanta, drivers want some security here. That is the tightness, but they have to be able to turn in the center and not abuse that right front. And Drew told me they're very happy with the race car, and obviously it's paying off.
Security would be a word to be used on a broader term than just in that race car today for David Reagan. A lot going on around this young man in the 6. Reports this week that the sponsor UPS may be coming off of that car and sponsoring a limited number of races on Carl Edwards' 99 car. Roush Fenway Racing yet to comment on that. David can get into the chase if he can win a second race and get into the top 20 in points, where he runs right now today. He's in the top 20 in points and in contention for a second win. And when you're a driver in that insecure spot looking ahead to your future, it's got to be terribly uncomfortable.
Well, it does weigh on you as a driver, but David Reagan, I think, is a young man that's proven he can run well, win in the Cup Series, so hopefully everything will work out there. And the UPS happy with David Reagan. They're just looking, I think, maybe to cut back somewhat in the efforts that they make. Obviously, being based here in Atlanta, be a huge day if David Reagan could get that car to victory lane for himself and his sponsors.
Nothing helps job security in racing like winning.
You see Paul Menard now working on Greg Biffle, and he hasn't had a really good race so far, but this has been his high water mark. He's trying to get up here in the top 15. He's actually running 15th now, working on more.
Kevin Harvick looking to take that 5th spot away from Reagan. So that security in the corners he was looking for in the race cars, missing right now.
Harvick's had one of the best cars out here today, and he got bottled up on that crazy restart we saw. And he's really lucky to still be running.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have been really bad for a team that needs a good day.
Speaking about momentum, right?
Ooh, yeah.
There's a group that really has not run all that well. In fact, after last Saturday night's race at Bristol, the Richard Childress Racing team performed so poorly that they called a meeting for all of their road crews on all 3 teams on Sunday. Called them all in and basically said, look, we've got to get this turned around. What do we need? I talked to Mike Dillon, the vice president of competition for Childress Racing, about it, and he said basically what we needed to do is get the communication going again between the teams, and we've seen that this week. We've seen a lot of good work between all of the efforts.
I sat down with Mike Dillon a little bit this week also, and he's kind of getting more involved. He wants to try to get his hands on the car a little bit, so he was kind of one of the crew members for the practice day and just, trying to figure it all out.
Kyle Busch still going backwards here. Seeing that big Tony Stewart was going around him. He slipped back just still in the top 10, but going to be back to that 9th spot.
So he's really going to want to see pit road.
Yeah, he's looking at his car. They seem to be slipping a little bit here. The track's changing and kind of getting away from them a little. Either that or they're just making adjustments that are not going in the right direction.
So while Tony is moving up, Kyle is slipping back. You saw that bobble there. And Carl Edwards is charging forward. That's 3rd place he's trying to take from Denny Hamlin.
Now here's a car that's making the right adjustments, and the track's coming to them.
And another one charging forward. Jimmy Johnson, old 5-time.
We're seeing some of these guys that are locked into the chase starting to gain a little momentum, especially here today, and do some better things. Jimmy Johnson really struggled with this race car early on in this race. They made some adjustments on a few pit stops. Have him well up inside the top 10 now as he's up to the 6th spot.
Yeah, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson just about getting lapped at one run. And now you see Jimmy racing his way to the front, and Jr. is now still back in the 25th spot.
So Jimmy Johnson up to the 6th position. He was 25th earlier, just about to go a lap down when a caution saved him. They made some adjustments, and now he's trying to catch up to his teammate, Jeff Gordon, who's the leader. Inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup garage, they have an old saying. When you've had a rain-delayed race, they call it the Alleluia lap. The halfway lap of the race, when you know you're going home that day. We've passed it here in Atlanta. The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series coverage today presented by Pennzoil. New leader in the race, Matt Kenseth by Jeff Gordon a minute ago. Gordon had a big bobble. Show you that right now. Watch that 24 car in reference to those seam lines on the track.
That's a lot of working right there. Working the wheel, trying to stay in the throttle a little bit, trying not to wreck is basically what he was doing.
Trying to keep the lead, but he couldn't do that.
And now that Matt Kenseth has gone to the front, Gordon has slipped back where Denny Hamlin has gotten by him. Carl Edwards has gone by him as well. About set for green flag pit stops. So over the course of a run on tires, look at some of the speeds and how much they fall off.
Now you can see they just fall off so much. Matter of fact, now this 24, he really needs to hit pit road.
You know, and sometimes you get these cars. He wanted his car tighter. They put a spring rubber in the left rear. It looked like they really did a good job of doing that. But you run it so hard, you run the right front tire off of it, and that becomes a problem.
Green flag pit stops have begun, Dave.
31 of Jeff Burton up to 15th place. A good run today for the Caterpillar Chevy. 4-tire change, just air pressure adjustment for Jeff. Right now, his car was, he's been complaining about grip, but not too bad today.
This the race for the lead. Carl Edwards trying to chase down Matt Kenseth at the end of this long run while the charge onto pit road has begun en masse, Dave.
Clinton Boyer had the 8th position, Alan, before this round of pit stops began. It'll be an air pressure adjustment for him, a 4-tire change, and fill it up with Sunoco fuel. A little tight, but pretty good. 22 of Kurt Busch pits right behind him. He was in the 18th position during this, before this round started happening. His car was tight at the beginning of the run, went way loose. He's not happy about it. They put a spring rubber into the left rear on the 22.
More pit stops. Truex, Keselowski, Earnhardt Jr., Biffle, Allmendinger, Newman, Ambrose, Menard. Vince, who you got?
Brad Keselowski bringing that 2-car in. They've just been fighting a little bit too free on throttle throughout much of the day today. They've made many chassis adjustments, some air pressure, another chassis adjustment coming on the 2. A 4-tire change for Brad Keselowski, trying to keep that hot streak alive. Having a pretty solid day here in Atlanta. Doc?
Jeff Gordon put the rubber in the left rear, which tightened the car up, and the car began to step out. It got worse and worse and worse. Now, around the track bar, right rear, 4 tires, the car suddenly just got loose, and Jeff slowed down dramatically. Dave?
There's a chassis adjustment going on for Kyle Busch. His car was very, very tight. Didn't want to turn for him. See him angling in there, getting around the car that was on the pit road behind him. Vince?
14 of Tony Stewart, you see him there leaving the pit stall after a 4-tire change, just trying to get that car to work off the corners a little bit better. It's been a solid day, though, for the 14.
And a 34 car spinning at the entrance to pit road. That's David Gilliland. While the green flag stays out, Carl Edwards is in. Matt Kenseth is coming in. Jamie?
And they spun right in front of Carl Edwards. He avoided him. Carl saying he's a little bit snug through the center. The car's pretty good. Wedge adjustment, and the mist continues, Doc.
Yeah, 17 car. Matt Kenseth saying there's a little bit of grip going away. The car was tight in the middle, but getting very loose off. A lot of drivers now saying the track is really loosening up, and they're losing front grip.
The 11 of Denny Hamlin lacking lateral grip on the rear of the car on exit, so they're going to go down on the track bar again. Another 4-tire change and fuel for Denny Hamlin.
The Gilliland car still sitting at pit entry. Jamie mentioned a mist that is falling. We've seen that peppering the camera lenses on and off all day. There is Gilliland's car in the middle of green flag pit stops. NASCAR hesitant to throw the caution out, I'm sure, and change the complexion of the race.
He's out of the way. He's not in anybody's pit stall. He's before the stalls start, off the racetrack, so he's not really in peril.
Yeah, I think once everybody has been on pit road, we will see a caution to get that car out of the way.
And after the cycle of pit stops,
all right, caution is out. Caution is out.
Carl Edwards comes out the leader. You saw him trying to take the lead from Matt Kenseth and then bailing out and going to pit road and stopping 1 lap sooner than Kenseth. That extra second or 2 on fresh tires for the 1 lap, enough to cycle Carl out into the lead, and yellow number 5 waves on this event. So caution out, teams have just stopped. Chance to regroup just past the midway point of this event with Carl Edwards, now the race leader in Atlanta. Good news from Queens. Americans having a good run through the U.S. Open. Be nice to see as the Open plays through its second week in New York City. Here in Atlanta, we're seeing some things that we saw a lot on Sunday and Monday here that we thought we were free from on Tuesday, but perhaps not.
Yeah, the bad thing is this doesn't even show up on the radar. Now we've got heavy mist settling over the track.
The race is past the halfway point of the event. We're under the 5th caution of the event. Carl Edwards is the leader. We just finished a set of green flag pit stops when pit road was open under this caution. Just a few takers among lead lap cars, about 8 that were toward the back end of the lead lap. And we'll update that in a minute. While we have a quiet opportunity, let's catch up with some crew chiefs. Jamie?
Well, since it's not on the radar, I guess we can't call it rain officially, but we're hearing that on the radio. Carl Edwards saying we're about to lose the track. What do you think, Bob?
It's getting pretty thick out here. I was surprised. It really doesn't show much on the radar, but track's starting to get a little damp. Pit road's starting to get a little damp for sure. We've lost pit road. I don't know about the racetrack yet.
Of course, talking to Bob Osborne, crew chief for Carl Edwards. Great stint for you guys that last round. 7 positions gained. Now you're in the lead. Carl said he's really good and getting better as the run goes on. Did you guys make any adjustments to get him better early?
Yeah, we started that last run a little bit too tight, but it came on strong at the end. We freed up a little bit trying to balance that length of the run, so hopefully it works out.
All right, Carl Edwards, the leader. Let's go over to Doc.
And Jimmy Fennig here, the veteran crew chief, calling the shots for Matt Kenseth. Jimmy, you guys have made minor adjustments, and every time Matt says the car has gotten better and better. But a little bit ago, about 15 laps ago, the track changed. What did Matt say?
That last round we got a little bit too free. Before the run before, we were just a tick tight, but we tightened up just a little bit here. We got to see what this track's going to do.
You said this is the latest and greatest car you guys built for the chase for Kansas. What kind of grade do you give it at Atlanta today?
It's not too good today. Really, he's struggling out there, so we got to get a little bit better.
All right, Jimmy Finnegan, not happy with the fact that they're sitting right now in second place. Struggling? That's struggling?
I'm wondering about that too, Doc.
Pretty high standards these guys set.
Talking about momentum as we have earlier, as we get closer to the championship. Carl Edwards, late spring, early summer, right? Really on a roll, top 5 every week. Then in the last 8 races, he's only had 1 top 5 finish. And I think some folks were scratching their heads saying, are they really going to be a championship contender? Win today would be huge.
It would be, because I was one of those that wasn't sure that this team could get this back. We know Carl Edwards as a driver is very capable. Just seemed they had lost something, and I really wasn't putting them in my top 4 or 5 going into the chase.
I didn't have them in my top 4, but, you know, like, things can change, and momentum can shift, and we see that all the time in this sport. Looks like it's shifted, at least in this race, towards Carl Edwards.
And Carl has said the results haven't been there, but they've run well the last few weeks, right? They had a mechanical failure while they were running decently a few weeks back from the spark plug that went out of the car and got swept up into an incident. He said, you know, if it hadn't been for a couple of fluky things, he'd still be the championship leader and we'd be okay. That's his attitude, and he's showing it today. They're leading this race just past halfway. Seeing if this little mist blow is over. It looks like it is, and hopefully we can get back to racing very quickly in Atlanta. Coverage presented by Pennzoil. Working caution just past the midway point of today's Tuesday event at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. ESPN coverage presented by Pennzoil. We will wrap up this race later on tonight. Early morning edition of NASCAR Now. Post-race coverage 2 a.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2 as we check the motorsports schedule on the ESPN networks. Next weekend, we're on to Richmond. Actually, that's this weekend, isn't it?
It is now.
Friday night, 7 Eastern, ESPN2. We got a whole day of coverage that starts about noon Eastern from Richmond on Friday. The race presented by Jack Daniels. Then next Saturday night, the Chase deciding race at Richmond, ABC, 7 Eastern Time. Saturday night races on ABC. Sunday races and Tuesday races on ESPN as we work through the rest of the season.
Well, that Richmond's going to be something special. Always is, being that last race. We have so many storylines that are going to be taking place there.
Really could see a position with this wild card where winning you're in is it Saturday night. Fans wanted winning to mean more. It could mean a whole lot this weekend in Richmond. While they continue to just try and quickly run the jet dryers over the track and soak up this little mist layer that's fallen, let's go back to pit road. Doc?
Standing with Alan Gustafson on top of the Jeff Gordon Hall. And Alan, every time you guys have made an adjustment to tighten him up with the wedge and the rubber in the left rear, he has taken off in the short run. But in the long run, it's been a bit of a challenge. Why?
Well, it's just it's a trade-off here in Atlanta. The driving the Honda Chevy is really good. We just got to balance it out. We'll have to see. If the race comes down to a long run, you know, we'll have to manage our tires a little bit better. But if it comes down to a short run, we'll be right where we want to be.
Worried about a track change with the rain here coming in?
It seems like it's constantly been changing all day anyway, so it'll be interesting to see which way it goes, but we'll just be ready for it. Everybody's got to run on the same track, so it's just part of it.
Okay, thank you, Al. Let's check in with Vince.
One of the better cars today has been the 11 of Denny Hamlin, crew chief Mike Ford. You said before the race you thought you'd be good on the long run. It doesn't seem like we've had too many of those today. What would be your assessment of how the car's handled so far?
Yeah, it handles like we expected. You know, we start off to the tight side, but it gets good after about 10 to 15 laps. And you know, here in Atlanta, you want to take care of your equipment. So we know if it comes down to short runs at the end of the day, we'd need to free it up a little bit. But most of these guys start off good, run fast laps on new tires, but then go free. And if we get a couple green flag runs here, I think we'll be sitting fine. But if this weather comes in, you know, and keeps wetting the track, it's going to come to short runs, and we're going to have to free it up if that's the case.
There you go, guys. Keeping an eye on the weather for sure, Dave.
Shane Wilson is Clint Boyer's crew chief. He told me on Sunday that they made some adjustments to put a long run ability in the car. They had a good short run car. So what's it been better on, the short or the long runs today?
No, definitely on the long run. We've been good on the long run, so that's good. Not bad on the last couple runs on the front of the run, but you know, if it goes a bunch of green flags, we'll be in good shape.
Is this rain going to do anything for the track condition, just as light as it's been?
Yeah, I mean, we started getting a little free when it started sprinkling, which I would expect it to, and just hopefully we can get it dried up here and go back to racing.
They were trying to free him up a little bit. In fact, Clint said when they went back to green, yeah, you got me free now.
So Boyer running back in sixth position at the moment, doubled up for the restart with Carl Edwards choosing the outside lane over Matt Kenseth. And track conditions will be a little different as we get set to go back racing. How about this? The four guys racing for the $3 million in the Sprint Summer Showdown are all together on the racetrack. Menard Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and Marcos Ambrose are running in 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th.
Yeah, that's not quite as far forward as they want to be, though. Yeah, that's not where we need them. We'd like to see it come down to them.
Yep. Kyle Busch, of course, running up front a lot of this race, but the handling on his car really fallen off in the last little while, and he has slipped pretty well back in the pack. Gonna go racing. That pink pace car heads off, saluting survivors of breast cancer. And Carl Edwards brings him up to speed again. Martin Truex diving low, 3 wide into 1.
Ooh, no spin in the tires of that 56 car. He was in the gas. He passed 3 cars or more.
Kenseth to the lead, Edwards the second, side by side for third, Gordon 24, and Harvick 29. Harvick with a great run off that outside.
Yeah, a little surprising because we've seen Jeff Gordon be really fast at the start of these. Harvick seems like his car takes a little time to come in. Got it on go right now.
Doc just talking to Gordon's crew chief, Alan Gustafson, about that short run, long run.
And that may be exactly something Jeff Gordon, after that last run where his car really fell off, he may take care of the tires a little bit more here at the start of this.
Tony Stewart was rim riding in that 14 car, trying to dig his way back to the front.
Yeah, we've not seen Tony Stewart be able to get all the way back to where he was before he had those bad pit stops kind of in a row.
Worked with us earlier, Tony. A couple of tough trips down the pit lane, lost a lot of track position. Had one of the faster cars in the early part of the race.
Here comes Paul Menard making it 3 wide. He and Ambrose splitting Greg Biffle. Biffle's going to go back and put himself in the middle of them. But Menard hooked up on the bottom right now.
That Kyle Busch in that yellow 18 car caught my eye too. He really had to wait to get on the gas in that corner. I thought Montoya was going to drive right through him. Nice job, Juan, to check up.
Yeah, see how Kyle's car drives back in traffic. We saw him spend most of the day up in the top 3, but got into the wall, and the car hasn't been quite the same since then. Really not good with Brian Vickers all over his back bumper going down the straightaway.
Searching for grip. Try the high line now. That was Dale Jr. back in 22nd place. Here's the race for third. Jeff Gordon trying to rally back.
Yeah, I think this is just a veteran Jeff Gordon, realizing that he's been running the car a little hard at the start and restarts, using up a little too much tire, which is very easy to do.
That's one thing that's kind of hard for a crew chief. You know, hear you guys say that. You know, you're the only ones that really know how hard you're running. When you're the crew chief, you're up on that box, you're watching these things, and you kind of wonder, is this one of those runs where he's taking care of it, or are we just not as good in the beginning of this run?
Do you ask him?
Yeah, sometimes you would. I mean, if you're looking at this and you're concerned, you say, hey, you know, how do we stack up right now versus the run before?
Gordon has led 100 of the 190 laps today. By far the dominant driver in this race. Jimmy Johnson almost a lap down earlier. Now that 48 car back up into the top 10. He's in 9th place.
Now, he was in a good spot for the restart there. I believe about 7th. And Martin Truex, who passed, as Andy mentioned, about 3 cars before he got to turn 1, kind of put Jimmy back a little bit, but now starting to move his way forward. They've made some nice adjustments on this 48 car today. Oh, yeah, the driver's done pretty good, too.
Yeah, you think? That for 8th place, Jimmy Johnson by Martin Truex. On that last restart, we saw Truex, after he crossed the start-finish line, breaking out low, 3 wide.
And you talk about a guy that's ready to go to work when he punches in. Watch this right here. Time to go to work.
3 wide, you're on
He
the bottom.
surprised a few of them.
Just hasn't been able to hold all of that track position that he gained, but opportunistic for Truex. They've been pretty hot lately, Vince.
They have indeed, building on the momentum of last week's second-place run at Bristol, which was Truex's best finish in, about 4 years. Remember working with crew chief Chad Johnston, his first time here in Atlanta as well. They've been taking some swings at the car, and Martin last time said, hey, it's pretty good right about now. And I think we're seeing some of the results of that.
Yeah, and a team as you know has a lot of potential here. Martin Truex, an excellent race driver. We've seen Michael Waltrip Racing improve as a group, and I think this crew chief driver combination is going to pay big dividends for them in this Napa team.
Now, another guy I want to talk about since the restart, that too, Brad Keselowski, right? Just before they went green, we showed all the Sprint Summer Showdown cars together, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. Since the restart, Keselowski's up to 7th.
That's just what we've seen over the last 5 weeks from this driver and team, doing things right, making adjustments, getting themselves in position to win. They haven't always had the fastest car when they've won these races, but they get there, Andy.
That's exactly what I'm looking at. That car has not been that good all weekend. I mean, but they find a way to execute to the max, and that's what they've been doing all day today, making the most of what they have and making what they have better.
Latest on the 2 car, Vince.
Well, and what's interesting, really, right along the lines of the theme that you guys are discussing, Paul Wolfe talks about how Brad Keselowski is just excellent at managing his car. He knows when to push it, when to back off, steps up when it counts. He's been really providing some outstanding feedback over the course of the past month and a half, makes good decisions during the race, and this is another one of those driver-crew chief combinations that has really clicked, and we're seeing it on race days. Doc?
Talking about driver crew chief combinations, how about 5-time champion Jimmy Johnson? Now, Chad Knaus made no bold about it. He said, this is not our best piece, Doc. We have our cars lined up and covered up, waiting for the chase. But with that in mind, we're going to do our best to get a good finish now. Back in 25th, almost a lap down, but Chad has made small adjustments on the car. They were very tight in the middle and very loose, almost spinning out loose coming off. Small air pressure, track bar, and now Jimmy Johnson in a car that isn't their best car is a factor. Guys, battle up front.
Carl Edwards, 99, trying to get the lead back from Matt Kenseth. Remember, Carl led at the last restart, but on the break, Matt got ahead of him.
The way Carl got the lead was after a round of green flag stops, and then the caution came out. He had been running down Matt after a long run. It looked like even that run, Matt was a little better in the beginning, but Carl's car comes on at the end.
A couple of very different lines off turn 4 there.
Yeah, Carl's has been pretty much staying on the bottom most of the day, just like he did in the Nationwide race the other night. He's utilizing that very bottom part, even left front below the yellow line at times, using that Doug Yates horsepower to get him up off the corner.
I guess
the only problem is that 17 has that same horsepower.
I guess what I've been seeing, as we jump back here to Johnson taking 6th place away from Keselowski, it seems like when a lot of guys use that low lane coming off of 4, they go all the way out to the wall like Johnson just did.
Yeah.
But Carl seems to keep his car way down off the wall when he exits that corner.
And that's just, I think, probably the setup that they have working in that, and Carl, because he never turns the wheel a lot, so this car is turning itself in that respect, and that's a really good car and feel to have.
Good race for the lead. Had a lot of good racing all day here at Atlanta. Coming up on the 200 lap mark with Matt Kenseth out in front. Caution out, the mist heavy again here at Atlanta. Pit road is open, Doc.
Matt Kenseth is in. The car is tight off, tight in, and tight in the middle. The track had been getting loose, but now they're going to make air pressure adjustment there. Now, the 24 car, left lower part of your screen, Jeff Gordon, said the car is really loose on exit. Got to be very careful on the throttle track bar adjustment. Dave.
Sixth position, he said, give me a little bit to help the loose condition, but don't go crazy. Track bar and air pressure, Jamie.
Carl Edwards, bottom right-hand side. All he wants to know is how long is it going to rain? Car is good. 4 tires race off pit road side by side. Matt Kenseth looks like he got it, Alan.
He did, Jamie. And watch for Jeff Gordon.
Not good there.
-5. And Kyle Busch, who just fell backwards and backwards and backwards in this latest run of the race. He was 20th a little bit ago. Still there getting some work done on that car. Is something broken? Is something hung? Is something...
Yeah, that's what they're looking for. You know, it's just they've completely lost the handle. So this is a chance now just to regroup and try to figure something out.
So the Gibbs guys looking it over. Kyle Busch, the championship leader in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, entering the day, tied with Jimmy Johnson for a number of points, but by more wins than Jimmy, the tiebreaker. Kyle, the championship leader, hoping to add more bonus points for the seating in the chase, and after running really well in the beginning of this race, gotten way back in traffic. Good pit work again by Matt Kenseth's team. Overcame that first pit stall advantage for Carl Edwards. 17 out in front. Back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on this Tuesday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, with our telecast presented by Pennzoil, just past the 300-mile mark of the race, under caution for the 6th time today, second of them for this heavy mist that's kind of blowing over the speedway. Nothing shows up on the radar, but the mist just kind of blows through and makes the track a little too damp to race. And yet it doesn't take long for them to dry the track up and get us back going. Saw Kyle Busch with an extended stop on pit road, Dave.
Remember earlier we showed you he bounced off the turn 4 wall. Dave Rogers right there scratching his head on how to fix what Kyle says is a really, really tight race car since then. It just seemed to go kind of arrow tight, and so they were working on the right front of the car there. They also made a track bar adjustment for Kyle and removed a spring rubber from the left rear spring. So hopefully that will help that car turn a little bit better, but it's just been real tight for him.
Yeah, it is a head scratcher. You know, these cars are so sensitive arrow-wise. You have one of those little dings, and then you try to figure it out, and then how do you adjust it? Because you can't really fix the body like you need to, so you got to make an adjustment to compensate.
3,500-pound rolling science project.
That's what they are.
Laws of physics and everything else you could think of, right? This Kyle Busch getting into the wall, a little bit back.
Yeah, not a very hard lick.
The 11.
We've seen cars take pretty hard licks and never really get, sometimes you can get better, but
yeah,
in this case it's not working out.
Yeah, and they're up underneath looking to see if it bent any of those panels that may be affecting the aero on this car, because all of that underbody stuff does have a big effect too, but it's kind of looking like there's nothing under there that they see.
Looking down live on the Atlanta Motor Speedway, our NASCAR Sprint Cup Series AdvoCare 500. Today, make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. We are working the 6th caution. A rather heavy mist has washed over the speedway. You can hear in the background the big jet dryers out there working to keep the heat in the racetrack and keep it dried up. Reports from them are they are certainly helping, keeping from completely losing the track. And the rain here, and I should say rain, the mist, because it really is a mist, it looks like, has set up an interesting situation. Not pitting under the yellow flag, J.J. Yaley in the 38 car, who is leading, and Landon Castle in the 51, who is second. taking a gamble that perhaps the weather might get heavy enough for the race not to be resumed. How about it, Doc?
Well, why don't we ask the man who made the call to leave his driver out, Jay Guy, the crew chief for J.J. Yaley. And what are you thinking here, Jay?
I hope it rains really hard right now. It'd be really good for this team, and we have a new sponsor on board this week with Vamped, and you know, we need a boost. We've had a lot of bad luck this year, and it'd be really good if we'd actually have a little bit of good luck go our way.
Were you looking at the radar and made this call consciously knowing this stuff was moving in?
Well, I mean, it doesn't show up on our radar very big, so I think we'll end up going back racing. You know, but the other thing is we want to lead a lap and get the point and everything like that, and stay out and chance and maybe have a little luck go our way.
How big would this be for a team this size, a small team trying to make it in this sport?
I mean, it'd be huge. I mean, it's big for anybody out here in the sport, but, you know, for somebody like us, I mean, for Bob Jenkins, our owner, and everything, it'd be just a real big feather in his cap. And like I said, we've got a new sponsor on board this week, and you know, maybe we can, that's a good sign they're coming down pit road. We lost the track, but, you know, just be a real positive for our team.
Okay, Jay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Alan, how about that? It could be another David and Goliath story. A little guy here maybe stealing one at Atlanta.
And you see, NASCAR has made the decision to bring the cars down pit road, cover them up and park them, and leave the jet dryers out onto the racetrack. Now, as they do that, out the window, it looks like the horizon is brightening already. And I kind of agree with Jay Guy that we should see more racing here.
You know, he's hoping it does.
Does it? Yeah.
He wants it to keep raining.
Yeah, and give a call to J.J. Yelly and Landon Castle, who's in second there, for running well enough all day long. You know, we're 210 laps into this race, and they've been able to stay on the lead lap on a very difficult racetrack, put themselves in this position.
So the field will be stopped under the red flag with 115 laps to go, but better than 300 miles complete. We'll wait to see how quickly we can get this thing back underway, because we feel like we will. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in Atlanta, presented by Pennzoil. There's a sound on the pit lane at the Atlanta Motor Speedway that we're happy to hear again. It's racing engines being revved up. Our coverage today presented by Pennzoil. A red flag coming to a conclusion after a rain shower made the racing surface a little too slick, but it quickly has passed over. They've dried the track and we're getting set to send the cars back out onto the speedway. Quick check of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship standings, talking about the opportunity to lock into the chase today. Magic number at the end of the day. If you are 49 points ahead of 11th place, you're in. And right now, Ryan Newman and Kurt Busch in position as they run to do just that.
Yeah, not having their best days here, you can see, but good enough days that if the race were to end right now where they're running, they would be locked into the chase.
And as far as the guys chasing, for example, Tony Stewart in that 10th place to try and overtake him on points. Clint Boyer's really close. Brad Keselowski is as well. And it's Keselowski and Hamlin with the wins that currently hold the 2 wild card spots.
See Clint Boyer there battling hard here, still up inside the top 10 here today, doing everything that he possibly can.
1 point per position, the new rule for this year. If Tony Stewart has another hiccup at the end of this race, it could be big going to Richmond next week.
Yeah, and I know Boyer's looking at that too, a racetrack that he has run well at over in past years, that an opportunity, if he can't drive his way up into the top 10, maybe he takes that victory and that won't get him into position.
These 2 tracks here are also good tracks for Tony Stewart. I'm kind of surprised that he has not been better today. He was early in the race. He really was right up there, looked like a contender to maybe win this thing. Had really 2 bad pit stops, just hadn't recovered.
Red flag withdrawn, yellow flag out, 24 minutes and 21 seconds of a delay. And you think that's not too bad, but then when you consider it's Tuesday instead of Sunday.
Considering we waited 48 hours to watch this, 24 minutes isn't that big a deal.
Yeah, I know it. So they're going to go back onto the racetrack with 115 laps to go. We'll see the top 2 pit that didn't under this caution. And that'll put Matt Kenseth and Carl Edwards back into the top 2 spots. Let's talk bigger picture. 115 to go. Fresh tires, full load of fuel. Weather skirting the area every now and then.
Yeah,
crew chief's got to be pulling their hair out.
This weather's too iffy. I mean, really, to make any kind of strategy plan.
Yeah.
So you just got to roll with it. You see there's Bob Osborne. He's trying to figure out a way to get his guy up front when this thing's over, whether it's rain or checkered flag.
Yeah, and as a driver, you know, we talk about how fast this racetrack is, and especially on these restarts. They want to make as much time as they can. You just don't know what you're going to get when you drive off in the corner. So it's very tense moments for everybody involved here. And and the driver's having to try to keep up with what's going on with the track too. Oh yeah, is that the bottom or the middle or the top lane that's going to work the best this time?
Yeah, and the jet dryers have been out, so that changes the feel of things, and it could get kind of interesting here when we go back racing in a little bit. Jimmy Johnson's certainly been one of the stories of the day. Almost lapped earlier. He's come back now. He's into the top 6 at the moment, and he's about to move up to 4th when these other guys pit and having some fun on the radio.
It appears that there might be some more rain coming. Just about what I was thinking there, looking about middle of the back straightaway. Little J.J. Yaley, man, praying.
Jake, I was over here and asked me why you were taking shots at him on the radio. I know. He was laughing, joking. His engineer said, he's probably listening right now, hey, engineer. But they were laughing. He said, hey, man, why is your guy got to give me a hard time about seeing that? I was just trying to lead a lap. I said, who cares, man? Lead a lap, maybe you'll win the race.
Man, I'll be honest. If we can't win, I hope the hell he does.
Any man brave enough to wear a Speedo and take photos of it deserves a race line.
That's good stuff.
Can we find those photos?
I hope not.
Yeah, the object is to attract viewers, right? All right, J.J. Yaley leading, stayed on the racetrack when the race was stopped for rain, has not pitted yet. And if I were them, I'd leave it out there for a while, too, because this...
I wouldn't come in right now, because it still looks iffy.
Yeah, this horizon, it's just... Best way to describe it, I know it's hard to see it on the camera lenses. I mean, obviously you can see some water right there. It's not rain. It's just a big heavy mist that comes through like in little bursts, almost like a low to the ground cloud comes across and then goes away.
And it's so great. When they cranked these cars up a minute ago, as they were sitting on pit road, there was actually a little sunshine on a few of the cars there. Didn't last very long, but these 2 cars out front still have plenty of fuel to go for a little while, so they can wait this out.
And so nobody coming to pit road at the moment. An update on where the drivers in the Sprint Summer Showdown are running as they try to grab a hold of that $3 million jackpot, which they'll take a third of for themselves, a third for a designated charity, and share a third with a fan or fans at this point, Doc.
Indeed, and I'm up here where some of the fans are sitting. Dana Hardy out of Laurel Hill, North Carolina, big-time Kyle Busch fan. I think the hat gave it away. Now, you were a Kyle Busch fan long before this Sprint Summer Showdown started, right?
Oh, yeah, since 2006.
Now, you have never been to Atlanta. First time to Atlanta Motor Speedway. First time on an airplane, and first time with a chance to win $1 million. You're not giving up on him.
Oh, no, it's not over till it's over.
Okay, what are the plans? I know you have three boys and you're unemployed. You're hoping and still looking for work. What would this $1 million mean to you?
Oh, wow. It would change my life forever. Me and my boys and my fiance would be set.
I know you got a chance to meet Kyle. What did he tell you about the possibility of making you a millionaire today?
Just for myself, I think my shots were big as they possibly could have been with Kyle as my driver.
Okay, we'll let you go back to pulling for your guy, and maybe, just maybe, Kyle, because Kyle's come from behind before, maybe he'll get you that $1 million.
I hope so.
Okay, that is Dana Hardy out of Laurel Hill, South Carolina. She's not giving up, guys. She absolutely believes they still got a shot.
Fingers, toes crossed, everything else. The fans, all but one of the fans involved in the showdown were able to stay here in Atlanta and be part of it today, and all got their hopes up for their driver. And of course the charities would greatly benefit from the program as well. Fun promotion for us to keep an eye on over this summer. Pit road was open, but leaders weren't taken.
No, those 2 leaders not coming in until it gets at least 1 to go, and I don't even think I'd come then. I'd wait till it went green before I came in.
Just joining us, J.J. Yaley, Landon Castle, the 2 drivers in question, not pitting, and in first and second as we wait to restart this race, which we expect to, hopefully, shortly. Jamie?
And Landon Castle, exactly. Their plan is to pit with 1 to go. But Alan, as you can imagine, he's all up on the radio saying, it's still raining, it's still raining. He wants to stay right where he is.
It's a funny thing how that radio works. When a driver's car's not handling well and he needs a caution, there's suddenly debris on the racetrack.
Oh, absolutely. There's debris out there most of the time anyway. You can find it, but certainly when you're needing that, you're able to spot it much more quickly.
We did have another one of those waves of mist come right over turn 3 and 4. So he was saying what he saw, definitely spinning in his direction.
But yet, the sky over 1 and 2 is brightening again. And I think we're going to go back racing, and I think soon.
Yeah, I think certainly looking out the window here, it looks a lot better than it did just even 3 or 4 minutes ago. I think we have a much better opportunity, and of course we still have a lot of time just after 2 o'clock here.
And while we continue to wait on that 1 to go signal, let's go back down to Doc.
And another potential millionaire, Ron Rempinski out of St. Charles, Missouri. And Ron, you're pulling for Marcos Ambrose, your guy to win $1 million. Tell me what you think's going to happen with him.
Well, I think if they can get this race in, he'll see him at the finish line. That's what I'm hoping for.
I understand you were just a casual race fan and went to Daytona, took a tour of Daytona International Speedway, and it rekindled your interest about being a NASCAR fan.
Yes, it did. I went on tour with my family, and my daughter really is interested in NASCAR now. So she, her and I were down here, and Marcus is our #1 fan now.
Okay, you got 3 daughters in college. Where does the money go if you win?
College, and the other 2 are still in high school.
Okay, and so the money, I'm guessing, would be an educational fund.
For sure. That would be the first thing it went to.
Well, good luck to you, Ron.
Thank you.
All the way from Missouri, even though you think he might be pulling for Carl Edwards, he's got $1 million on the line for the 9 car of Marcos Ambrose,
who currently sits in 21st position on the racetrack. Of course, Marcos qualifying for the Sprint Summer Showdown by scoring that huge win on the road course in Watkins Glen back earlier in August.
Yeah, he's finally able to put a whole race together. It seems like this should have been like the 4th or 5th road course that he won in the Cup Series.
Yep.
But what a good time to make that happen and get yourself involved in this Sprint Summer Showdown and see what he can make happen for the rest of the day here.
And the designated charity for Ambrose, the Victory Junction Camp, the Petty Families Camp for children with cancer and other illnesses, and certainly a deserving cause. And Marcos, of course, driving for Richard Petty Motorsports. Where else would you get involved with?
Yeah,
it'd be money well spent.
Yeah, it certainly would. And if anybody out there is looking to donate money this day and time, that is a very worthy cause. I know that they are looking. It's a great camp, and the kids that are able to come there have a wonderful time. But it does take a lot to keep everything going.
Paul Menard qualifying for the showdown with his big win at Indianapolis, running 16th, Doc.
And the lady who's watching her driver, Paul Menard, Andrea Gay, out of Voorhees, New Jersey. And Andrea, I understand this program really hooked you because you weren't really a race fan, but you saw the Sprint Summer Showdown banner and decided to enter the contest online.
Yes, that is true. I was doing some schoolwork, took a break, saw the banner. It piqued my curiosity. And NASCAR, I did a project in school in marketing about NASCAR and the advertisements and how they get the sponsors. So then I said, oh, this might be interesting. So I said, when I saw I only had to put my email address and pick a driver, I said, that seems simple enough. So I just tried it, and now here I am today.
Paul Menard told me before the race he really wanted you to win this $1 million because of what you're planning on doing with the money to help some low-income women. Tell us about that.
Okay, I have been volunteering with an organization called Image and Attitude located in Pennsauken, New Jersey. And what this organization does is provide clothing attire, work attire, provide job readiness training programs, and help to integrate economically deprived men and women back into the work arena. So part of what I would like to do is to volunteer more time. I sit on the board of directors, and to begin to become economically make an economic contribution to the organization to help progress it even further, along with the fact that I have 3 grandchildren, a daughter and a son, and I'm a full-time college student.
All right, Andrea, good luck to you and your driver, the 27 car currently sitting in 16th position. Andrea Gay trying to win $1 million here at Atlanta.
And winning for a good cause. And Paul Menard as well. Habitat for Humanity, his designated charity, if he can win the jackpot in the Sprint Summer Showdown.
Well, all of those stories, you wish every one of those drivers could win. Just good things, and that's exactly what Sprint started this promotion for and wanted to see happen, was that opportunity.
Looks like they picked up the speed on the pace car, and the jet dryers working through turns 3 and 4. The report from the pace car a moment ago is that the track is looking good. So we'll see if we're able to get this thing back underway in just a couple of laps. Jamie?
Nick Harrison is the crew chief for the 51. What's your guys' plan? You still going to come in with 1 to go, or you want to just hang out there for a little while longer?
I'm hoping they never give us one to go right now. It'd be real good for Phoenix Racing, Phoenix Construction, and thank you, Teacher Today Chevrolet, for the rain to keep coming, get a good second place finish. This group of guys works as hard as anybody in the garage, and it'd be a really good day if we could get a good shower and the 51 car finish second. So that's what we're praying for right now. And if we get one to go, we're going to come in and get 4 tires and fuel and do the best we can for the rest of this thing.
All right, this team is watching the clouds, no doubt. Dave?
Kurt Busch has won here before. Jamie, crew chief Steve Addington's been trying to get the car right for him. You kind of been on both sides of the balance issue. Where is it right now?
Yeah, we worked hard on this shell Pennzoil Dodge all day. Right now, we were just a little snug on that run, that green flag stop. We made some big changes, and it started out a little snug. So hopefully we've got a direction on it now. We started the race tight, and it went loose. And now we're just trying to get back the other way, not trying to take us out of the ball game, because I think if we ever get back up there, it can hold some track position.
Sounds good. And guys, as they go back to green here pretty quick, Kurt should move up to about the 11th position for the restart. Doc?
Jay Yaley coming in to go ahead and pit. They were going to hold him out. Thought some rain was on the way, but couldn't risk it. Decided to come in and put 4 tires and top him off with Sunoco fuel. Jamie?
And you see Landon Castle, the 51, came just in time. 4 tires they didn't want to have to come, but of course we're going to go back to race and fill it up with some Sunoco fuel. Alan?
All right, so those pit stops have been made, putting Matt Kenseth back into the lead. He has chosen the outside lane for the upcoming restart, which comes in half a lap. If you're looking for the USA soccer game against Belgium from Brussels, that is coming up at the bottom of the hour over on ESPN2. The long race day here and rescheduled race and so on. A little programming shuffle here, but USA Belgium, 2:30 Eastern on ESPN2.
You might want to wait just a second, though, whether you watch NASCAR. Now, this is going to be pretty exciting right here. We think these restarts have been exciting before.
And here's why, because those spotters can see, and they see this mist coming over the track, and it's close again. This next restart may not last more than 5 laps. They'll be going at it hard.
Jeff Burton, Mark Martin, among the guys who came down pit road here recently. The leader is Matt Kenseth, outside lane. Carl Edwards to his inside, 106 laps to go. Three wide, that's Kevin Harvick diving for the bottom.
You can see Matt Kenseth spin his tires. Jimmy Johnson got right up on his bumper. Still able to stay out front, but here comes Harvick.
Kenseth's going to clear him. Harvick fighting with Edwards for second. Or fighting with Kenseth for the lead by rim riding. Here's Edwards.
Hey, right now they're not concerned about saving any tires, doing anything. They're not sure how long this is going to last. Everything they can get out of it right now.
Because of the weather.
Yes.
Here, all clear. Good job.
Yeah, that mist is hitting the track again. Right now, you heard some of the radio traffic there saying the mist was hitting the windshield.
And you can throw the caution. I almost wrecked.
That's Matt Kenseth.
There is the caution. Caution for rain.
For the rain. We almost all wrecked down there. I got to throw it.
That has to be an uncomfortable feeling.
Oh, I'll assure you, we talked again about the speed at this racetrack and what you're doing. The problem is that's the guy leading the race saying that more than anybody else. So.
Yeah, but you could hear his voice. I think he meant it.
Well.
Stay out. Stay out. Yeah, you can see this thing's raining, and we're going to get more. The problem is it's going to rain down, and it's going to rain another 5 minutes. I'm looking at the one in the middle of the backstretch.
And again, filtered through the perspective of the crew chief of the guy now leading at the rain.
Yeah, these spotters, they got a pretty good position to be able to see where this is coming from. And we do too from the booth. And you can just see, these waves just keep coming. You can tell that one was just a minute or so from hitting the track when we went green.
Well, it was a few laps, but it was a frantic few laps.
I don't think there was any doubt as to what the intensity was going to pick up there for whatever amount of time we were going to be able to go green flag racing.
Actually, that was about 2 laps, a lap and 3/4 of racing. That might have just determined the outcome of this race, depending on how this mist plays and how soaked the racetrack gets. Let's take a break. Still got 103 to go. Caution for the 7th time. It's misting again here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And as we work the caution flag here at Atlanta, reminder again, if you're looking for the USA-Belgium soccer match, you can find that over on ESPN2 at the bottom of the hour here in just a couple of minutes. We've been kicked around by the weather a little bit here at Atlanta over the last few days, and this heavy mist keeps rolling through and throwing wrinkles into this race. Kevin Harvick on that last restart with a bold 3-wide move is up to 3rd, Doc.
And Kevin Harvick could kick himself right now, because after that restart, we're down here with Gil Martin. Your driver said, I had him pass, but what happened?
He said he missed a shift, but I don't know. Maybe we'll get a couple more shots at it right here. Our Ream Chevrolet's been pretty good today, and I'd have him on any restart.
Now, we were joking before the race. You guys have not had a top 5 since the beginning of June, and suddenly you're back in it. You're a major contender. How does this happen with suddenly just turning things around?
Well, I mean, we have been trying some things over the summer, and some of them weren't very good. And this right here is hopefully this is the kind of car we're going to bring into the chase. We got 2 just like it to bring to Chicago, and we're looking forward to it.
Hey, during the rain delay, I asked Kevin Harvick, you're sitting 5th. I said, will you take a 5th and go home, considering how well you've run or poorly you've run? He said, heck no, I want to win this thing. Vince?
With Paul Wolf, the crew chief for Brad Keselowski. We talked to Brad during that earlier rain delay, talked about some of the changes you guys have made on your car. How confident are you that you've got a car that if we go back racing might be a factor here?
Well, we feel a lot better with the last couple adjustments we've made on the Miller Lite Dodge. We were able to get the track bar down there and a little bit of wedge, and it seems like the car started to come to life. The first half of the race, we were making adjustments, we just couldn't hit on it. We showed a little promise there that last run, so we're excited to get going here. I would feel like we've made our car better and we might have a shot at it.
How do you work with the car in relation to the adjustments when you don't know whether we're going to be racing for a longer stint, a short stint, maybe just a few laps and then it's over?
Well, it's definitely tough, especially with the weather, and luckily the overcast has stayed because the sun brings in a whole nother factor there. But we just got to do the best we can. It's the same for everybody, and we feel like Brad keeps giving us some good feedback. We'll keep working on it.
Good deal. Thanks, Paul. Crew chief for Brad Keselowski.
And Brad running in 8th position under the caution flag. In the Blue Deuce, track bars, we've seen a lot of adjustments on cars to meet the changing track conditions throughout the day. The 2-car, not the only one where we've seen that wrench go in the back window, Andy, and work on that jacking bolt.
That's a very effective adjustment. You see that wrench going in the rear window, and they're going to adjust on that track bar. And it does help. I mean, when you got a loose race car, there's not hardly a better way to tighten it up than to get it lower. Sometimes, though, that track bar starts out as low as it'll go, and you don't know where to go with it. But you can see both of these adjustments are taking the track bar down.
Seems like it's kind of been the adjustment of the day on a lot of these cars. For more on the track bars, let's head to our Craftsman Tech Garage and champion crew chief Tim Brewer. Tim?
When a crew chief calls for a track bar adjustment, you're going to see a crew member come over, put the handle in the rear glass of the car. And when he starts turning right here, underneath the car, you focus in on that orange bolt head right there. What we're trying to do is lower the rear roll center of the car. By doing that, it's going to give the driver more grip from the center of the corner off, and he won't be spinning the tires.
Yeah, that was always an adjustment I liked, especially at a high-speed racetrack like this where you are looking for that grip, especially on the exit of the corner. That seemed to really make a big difference. Something you could, as a driver, you want something to lean on, and you could really take that and use it to your advantage.
But there's a sweet spot for that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, you think, well, why wouldn't you just put it as low as it'll go? Well, sometimes that's just not the best place for it. I actually saw in one of those replays, Jeff Gordon was raising his track bar up. So there is a sweet spot for that adjustment.
Rolling Science Project. Find a way to get maximum grip out of those 4 tires. At 24 degrees of banking at 190 miles an hour at a certain temperature. Crew chiefs got their hands full, don't they, Dave?
They really do, Alan. And grip is something that Jeff Burton has talked with his crew chief Luke Lambert a lot today. He's running kind of back where he started now, but earlier he was up into the top 10. Looks like you guys had something. Where's it gone?
Yeah, we got the car pretty good there. We drove up through traffic, and we kind of followed a couple of our track position strategies when the cautions came out. Didn't quite work out like we wanted it to, but we got the car back the way it needs to be right now, and we'll see what happens. We got fuel for one more stop, so see if we can make it work.
Discussing things this morning, you guys were, quote, far off, and you made a big adjustment in practice to get the car where it was. Has guys been working extra hard this weekend?
Yeah, everybody's worked really hard, so hopefully we got what we need in it right now and see what happens.
Now it's up to Luke and engineers to make sure they get it right for the end of the race, Alan.
Dave, they're going to get another shot at it here if they want. Pit road is open for lead lap cars as they come to the opening of pit road this time.
That certainly would be something to look at. It has come possibly, and we've seen a lot of these races and a lot of green flag racing at this particular track. If the rain would stay away, it might be something that somebody could sneak in here with some fuel mileage.
Looks like Martin Truex Jr. in 15th place is going to be the first one to head to pit road. Stewart, Vickers, Allmendinger, Kyle Busch, Dale Jr. all following in. Here's the 18, Dave.
Here he comes again. Remember, we talked during the rain delay that there really wasn't a chassis problem with the 18. The car had just gone tight handling-wise. They'll change 4 tires here, top it off with fuel. Vince?
The 14 of Tony Stewart's had a pretty good race car today, especially when he's been up toward the front of the pack, but track position has been the biggest problem other than a couple of slow pit stops. Gave him 4 fresh tires and fuel. Jamie?
And Ryan Newman, the 39, definitely not had the day they were expecting to have. This is one of the brand new cars they were talking about bringing to the chase. Came in 7th in points, didn't have a whole lot to lose, but they did want to lock up their position here. They need to finish 20th or better. He's been loose today. He's down and away after adjustments, guys.
Yeah, and Jamie, that 20th or better is if Brad Keselowski wins the race. Right now, Ryan is in position to lock in a place in the chase today, even after making that pit stop and giving up a little bit of track position. So 15th on back to pit road here. The front runners with really only a lap and a half of racing on their tires, staying out. Being a little less on fuel than some of these guys who just stopped. But again, how far is the race going to go?
Yeah, it's just so iffy, this weather. Man, I tell you, it's got to be just a nightmare for these crew chiefs to try to figure it out.
So while we work the caution flag and continue to get the track back in completely raceable condition, haven't hit up our in-race reporters since earlier on in the day, and our in-race reporters, the drivers that are competing for that Sprint Summer Showdown jackpot on this afternoon. Let's see if we can get Brad Keselowski there, DJ.
Hey, Brad, Dale Jarrett, do you have a copy? Hey, Brad, Dale Jarrett, do you have a copy?
He's on the other line.
Got a bigger name on the other line, Dale.
I'll guarantee.
Must be a screw chief.
Or Roger Penske. All right, best plans, Try it again.
Give it one more try.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy with us now, bud?
Yes, sir.
All right, man, it's been an interesting race. I know a kind of long day out there, but it looked like you kind of got between adjustments and the track, things coming towards you.
Yeah, we've made some good adjustments for sure in the Miller Lite Dodge. Pretty optimistic about it, so we'll see how we fire off here. I think the track's ready to go, and hopefully we can move forward on the restart and get ourselves a little bit closer to the front, but it's been a solid day. Last few adjustments have been real good, like you said, Dale.
Hey, Brad, it has to be pretty exciting to know that you could really kind of change somebody's life. I know a win would be big for you and your team, but knowing there's a couple of fans out there pulling for you, that a lot of money would mean a lot to them.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I can only imagine what that's like and what they're thinking right now. So hopefully we can get a little closer to the front, like I said, and just get them really excited. We're glad to have them either way, and appreciative of all the fans that made it out here for this weekend. And wish they could all see it, but thanks to those that are sticking around and still watching.
Hey, one more question. Has this rain and run around under caution, has it changed the racetrack drastically for you right now?
Yeah, every time the jet dryers come out, they've cycled the track, and it's hard to guess where it's going to be. But like I said, I think the track's ready to go right now, so it's hard to guess. But then every time we go green, the rain seems to come back. So it's been a vicious cycle inside the seat on the racetrack.
Okay, Brad, thanks for talking. Good luck in these last 95 laps.
Thanks, Dale.
Plan was to talk to all 4 of the Showdown drivers, all 4 of our in-race reporters, but they're going to get the one-to-go signal.
That's a better plan.
And as Brad said, he thought the track was ready to go. He's about to get a chance to go.
Yeah, they'll let the driving do their talking from here on.
Yes, sir. Paul Menard running in 14th position. Kind of in an unenviable spot because he's at the back of the guys who didn't stop here.
Yeah, he was right at the cutoff. He should have probably come down. He's looking back thinking, I wish I'd have come with him.
Even though it's only a lap and a half of racing on those tires.
Yeah. Here's a guy I want to watch. I saw Kyle Busch on the last restart. He got up and passed like 6 cars in the one lap. He's going to go to that top side, I believe. He's in pretty good position. Got these fresh tires and fuel to go, too.
See, he's getting ready to get up on that wheel.
Back in 23rd place after pitting under this caution. And there's Marcos Ambrose, also pitted under the caution. He's back in 27th spot. And the way this whole day and whole weekend is played out, who knows? I mean, just who knows what's going to happen? We'll just see. So the restart is going to come with 94 laps to go. And that is plenty of distance here at Atlanta. That's almost 150 miles left in this race.
Yeah, and this is one of those, we talk about spinning the tires on these restarts. This is one of those cases where you really have to be careful as a driver because these tires have heated up, you've picked up some debris, you make sure you really got them cleaned off, but even then, you have to be extremely careful going to the gas too hard.
Kevin Harvick with the great restart last time, jumped down 3 wide in a race for the lead with Kenseth and Edwards. Harvick lined up on the inside of row 2. The 5-time champ Jimmy Johnson to his outside. Jeff Gordon and Denny Hamlin behind them, but it's Kenseth on the outside leading the field back to the restart. Whoa, trouble there. Mark Martin shooting up the racetrack. Nice avoidance by Regan Smith in that 78. Kenseth to the lead. Johnson in the 48, just second.
Well, early in this race, I wouldn't have given you 2 cents that Jimmy Johnson could be running second at any point in time.
Looks like he's not finished with second.
Jeff Gordon in that 24 getting shuffled back some on this restart. Keselowski's up to 4th. 24 back there racing with David Reagan for 8th.
Yeah, Jeff got caught on down the inside. Not really where he wanted to be here, and it's like traffic in front of him has hampered his progress and going forward. See Reagan taking that spot away.
And Juan Pablo Montoya in that 42 had his hands full in turn 3. Managed to stay off of Boyer. Sense of urgency here. 3 wide, Kurt Busch to the bottom.
A.J. Allmendinger had thoughts of sticking his nose in there, thought better of it.
Menard back in 15th position.
Look at Jimmy Johnson. He's all over Kenseth.
Whoa, that was
yeah,
close.
almost literally all over him. That was almost contact.
That's going to let Carl Edwards close the gap on these 2.
The one thing that I've seen with Jimmy's car, every time, even with lap cars, his car gets extremely loose whenever he loses that arrow off the right side as he tries to turn it down off the corner.
Looks like Jimmy's really getting off turn 4 and getting that big run on the 17.
And we've heard Matt say before, too, that turn 3 and 4 aren't his best. Jimmy's going to give this another shot down on the bottom. Kenseth really good, though, over in 1 and 2.
Better keep an eye out behind him. The guy we just talked about getting shuffled back on that restart.
On that Gordon?
Yeah, starting to make up some ground in a hurry. Jeff back up to 5th.
Yeah, some of that just experience once again. Jeff Gordon with his car, knowing he has a good race car, but not pressing the issue at that point in time, trying to do something that really would cost him in the long run.
Got Kevin Harvick behind him, Brad Keselowski just in front of him. Gordon having led 100 laps on the day, way more than any other driver.
Yeah, really see Jeff searching around a little bit more than what we've seen in other parts of the race, but he's making that high line work up in 3 and 4, really getting a nice run down the front straightaway.
Some of the guys trying to pick their way back up through traffic. There's Greg Biffle in the 16. Trying to get the 11th spot from Clint Boyer in the 33.
He needed to slide up right there and didn't have enough room. Didn't have him clear.
And Kurt Busch just behind them. Haven't seen any of the guys that took tires on that caution make any real great gains.
Well, I'm watching Tony Stewart. His car looks pretty good and working the top side of the track. Looks good, but you know, there wasn't a lot of difference in the tires that were on the leaders and new tires. So, like I said, they only had a couple of laps of real racing on them. So not going to be a big difference there.
Top three still locked up in a pretty good fight for the lead. Jimmy Johnson again with that big run off turn 4. Jeffrey.
Yeah, that kind of confirms what we were seeing.
Carl Edwards now going to start messing around with second place and Johnson.
And those speeds also showed Tony Stewart being the second fastest, just pointing out exactly what you were saying. That he's got that car working very good as he's coming through traffic.
Talk about Carl Edwards in this mix for the lead, Jamie.
Well, Alan, his car has been set up to run better on the longer runs. The longer he went, the better. It's been 10 laps. They just told him, Carl, 10 laps. As you see, a three-way battle. Jimmy Johnson just barely does he get the lead. No, Matt Kenseth on the outside, but Carl Edwards, watch for him to come on the longer these laps tick away.
It's what we love about this racetrack. Two equally fast racing.
Is he going to clear him?
Oh,
not
no.
quite. And here comes Edwards.
Yeah, Johnson will be at a disadvantage getting down into the corner here. This has been Matt Kenseth's best corner.
Trouble, Clint Boyer. Into the wall, caution is out.
That sure looks like he might have run over something, cut a right front tire. Let's see if he just got loose.
NASCAR saying Matt Kenseth still the race leader at the time of the caution. And Clint Boyer trying to fight his way into that top 10 in the championship, or trying to get a win for the wild card. His race started today on the outside of the front row. It ends in the wall off of turn number 4. He was running 11th at the time.
He's got to go back out there.
Now I want to back up and see if we can decipher what's happened to Clint here.
Oh, just not quite clear on Montoya.
That's what you were talking about there. We were talking about Jimmy Johnson maybe trying that for the lead up there. Boyer thought he had enough room to slide up there and just misjudged the speed that Montoya had.
It's getting too late in the race to give that spot away, for at least for Montoya. He's still trying to race for it. Like he may have gotten a little damage too.
Now this was about 10 laps earlier.
Well, they've been racing hard for a while then.
Yeah, it looked like maybe Clint had slid up in front off of turn 2 in front of Montoya. Maybe took exception to that it was a little closer than it needed to be.
End result, 33 car into the wall. Driver out. And Montoya going to come to pit road with some damage.
It's like everybody's coming pit road
on that 42. 82 laps to go on the stops. Stock.
Matt Kenseth says the car just too tight. Talking to Jimmy Finney after the race, so we got to take a little air pressure out of both front tires. I got good rear grip, but just too tight on the racetrack. The 48 car, 4 tires. Jimmy Johnson. They have continued to make subtle changes in air pressure to keep the car from being too tight, middle off. Jamie.
And Carl Edwards said he wants just a little bit more of that wedge adjustment. They took wedge out. The car came to life earlier. He's hoping that'll help even more this time. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel, rub the grill, 4 tires. Carl Edwards down and away.
Yeah, it's going to get him out first among the cars he was racing with, but we've just seen a little strategy play.
And 2 tires, we haven't seen that really work, and you don't think about it much in Atlanta, but why not?
Well, he made it work last week at Bristol.
Remember, he just pitted before that restart and took 4 tires. So he's got what? About 9 laps of racing on his left side tires.
Yeah, I like their thinking right here. Good gamble by this 56 team. See if they can get that Napa Toyota up front, stay there a while.
So Martin Truex Jr. is going to be the first off the pit lane. There have been a few that did not stop. Same cast of characters before, seeing if they can hang out there and let it rain.
Doesn't look like it's going to now, though. Looks like it's about as clear as it's been over the horizon.
Casey Kane, you see, heading to pit road, spent some time behind the wall earlier. And there goes the 33 car of Clint Boyer.
And his chances for the chase, too.
Yeah, because even a win next week, it probably would not put him in the position to be able to capitalize on one of the wild card spots.
Yeah, not real happy with Montoya right now.
Clint's not. Put a graphic there that would have said sarcastically.
Yeah, we should do that. Get the sarcasm alert graphic that flashes up at the top of the screen. That's tough for Clint. But he's going to go to one of his best racetracks next week in Richmond.
He'll give it all he's got.
Yes, sir. Speaking of the race next weekend in Richmond, they'll settle out those championship drivers next Saturday night at the Action Track in Virginia's capital. It's always a good race, and I hope you can be there with us. Then it's on to the chase. Chicagoland going to open the chase up this year.
That's when it gets serious now.
New Hampshire, Dover, Kansas, Charlotte. Tickets at all of those races by going to NASCAR.com/tickets or calling the number bottom of the screen. Hope you can join us at the track. Had some great races this year, and I think
really
this championship is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, it really is. And, you know, the 12 that are going to make it are still going to have to battle a lot of guys that aren't part of the chase that have had good seasons and very capable of kind of upsetting the apple cart in a lot of these races.
So Landon Castle, J.J. Yaley ducking off the racetrack along with Mike Skinner. They had been the top 3 that didn't pit, and that is going to set Martin Truex Jr. up into the number 1 spot as we get set to go racing here with what will be 79 laps to go. How about this strategy on the 56 car, Vince?
With crew chief Chad Johnston, 2 worked for you at Bristol last week. What's the thought about the 2 tires here today?
We've just been struggling to get track position and keep a hold of it. We only had 10 laps on our left side, so we're going to see what this does. You know, get the car out front, get some clean track, and see what we can do.
They feel like they've had a pretty solid car today. They've worked on it quite a bit, but just haven't had the track position to make something happen. We'll see if they can do it now.
If you are Truex and you've got the 10 laps on the left sides and the fresher right sides on this tricky front stretch for restarts, anything particular you have to be careful of?
Well, what can help is a little bit of a rolling start, not getting the RPMs down too much. So he can control that. He obviously can't get going too fast, but that would help him not to get the speed down too far.
So we get ready to go. Actually, the restart just has been waved off. A piece of metal has been spotted on the front straightaway, and so they're going to send a cleanup truck out to pick that up. Martin Truex Jr., the leader. Mike Bliss got the free pass on this caution. A few wave-arounds, and we're going to have about a 78-lap run to the finish, depending on the weather. And again, the guys that have been the best on this day are going to be a little farther back in traffic. Jeff Gordon 4th, Matt Kenseth 5th. They've been the guys that have led more laps than anyone on the day so far.
Yeah, and still have hope for that $3 million payoff. Brad Keselowski still up there inside the top 5, or right there around 5th, 6th.
Is in 5th position for the restart. Trying to turn his awesome August into a super September.
Yeah, just another solid run here for this 2 teams. So again, that's exactly what they're looking for. Make it all happen here as they get themselves set for the chase.
Based on what you've seen, Jeff Gordon being in that outside lane for this restart, much better for him than when he got caught in the inside lane last time and it didn't go.
I like Jeff's chances, especially because he's on that outside. That's where he found something that last run. So I think he'll be good when this thing goes green.
before the restart, Jamie's caught up with Clint Boyer.
He's been checked and released. We looked at the replays, and you and the 42 were going back and forth for a while. Clint, what happened there? It looked like either you didn't know you weren't clear or he just crowded you.
No, I was tied up off the corner, and we fought tight the whole run. You can't race around the jackass. You never can. Anybody in this sport knows what you're up against when the 42 comes up. He dive bombs the starts and bullies his way up in there, and before you know it, he's in the way and wrecking with somebody. And unfortunately, I was a victim this week. It's just a shame. We're out here racing for a spot in the chase. He's racing for nothing, and I'm tired of it. Everybody in the garage area fights him. He's just an idiot.
You going to be able to get back out, Clint?
I don't even care.
He's pretty frustrated, guys. We're going back to green.
3 wide, Jimmy Johnson to the bottom. And to the lead.
New leader, 48.
Earl Barvin, the spotter from up on the roof.
Let's see if he can hold off this 99 to get back here, and I think that he can. Really done a lot of work to this 48, and it's paid off.
I still can't hardly believe, where this car was in the beginning of the race and where it is now.
Kenseth having to battle Truex. And once he got started there, going pretty good. He's going to settle in behind Matt.
And we thought Jeff Gordon in that 24 car lined up in that outside lane would be able to go.
Just did not get going on the start. It looks like he's going okay now.
Yeah, I think it's just, once again, one of those situations. Jeff's car, they've tightened it up some. It's just a little too tight to go turn these fast lanes. We say problem. Is that David Reagan?
Yeah, David Reagan.
Just stop running. I'll stop at the pits. Your oil pressure, everything done? It won't even spin over. It's 0.
Dave?
Alan, he knew when he was going into turn 3. He shouted, "It's blowing up, it's blowing up, it's blowing up." And sure enough, he takes it to a coast on pit road.
Regan Smith. And the caution flag is out.
Did you hit anything?
That's
yeah.
Affirmative.
That's too bad. David Reagan was running 9th at the time of his problem. Regan Smith was running 20th, and the caution flag is out for the 9th time in this race. And all the work Jimmy Johnson did to get the lead on that restart, he's going to have to do all over again to hold the lead.
That's too bad for David Reagan. Man, he had a good car today.
Yeah, it was at one point during the day in position to be in the top 20 in points if he could have gotten a win, but it didn't work out. Let's see what happened to Smith.
Yeah, it's like Mark Martin called him.
Mark was just trying to slide in behind Regan Smith and misjudged just enough to send Regan Smith spinning.
There was kind of awful lot going on there.
All right, trying to get a caution here.
At that spot, there's no safer barrier on the wall there. But driven back to the garage for Regan Smith, and a disappointing finish for the 78 team. A couple of guys on pit road here, Dave.
Kyle's going to take advantage of this. They're going to put 4 fresh tires on that, make sure everything is just okay. Actually, they're just going to jack up the left side. Looks like they're looking a little bit further into the 18 here, guys. We'll have to get back to you with exactly what was going on there.
Right. I'm not sure that they're not possibly maybe moving the rear end or something like that, Andy, here.
Yeah, they could be making an adjustment in that rear end alignment. There's the trailer arms there. You can
Hey,
actually steer that rear axle.
Let's go.
I'm not sure if that's what they're doing or not, but they're making some adjustment there.
Yeah, they're doing some. And I talked before that last restart about watching him come up through. He just was not able to do that. So still, they've lost the handle on this car, trying to make a major swing at it, looks like.
Been a long fight for the 18 team just joining us. Was running in the top 2 earlier, led some laps earlier in the race, but then just the handle's fallen apart, and they've gone back and back, gave up a bunch of track position on a pit stop earlier. And for Kyle Busch, this last run of the race has been all about numerous attempts to find that magic cure to get this 18 back to where it was in the beginning laps of the race.
They very well might have something wrong here. You know, you go back to the shop after a run like this, you look for things like, you know, a broken shock or something like, you know, anything, just a binding A-frame. It could be any kind of stupid thing that could make the car act like this. Makes you think that when you can't make any adjustment that seems to help.
For Dave Rogers, a long look at the brow furrowed.
Yeah.
I mean, just a long and difficult day for that team chasing what's wrong with that car that ran so well at the beginning of the day.
And with so much on the line today for that team, you know, to win that $3 million from Sprint, for not just for their team but for their charity and a fan, that's a lot of pressure too for the team. And to have this kind of problem, man, it's just tough on everybody.
So Kyle, back out on the racetrack, was 23rd when he gave it up for a pit stop. Not something you're used to saying about Kyle Busch. Talking about Kyle trying to win the big jackpot in the Sprint Summer Showdown. Update on where all 4 of those drivers are running at the moment. And the kid that's had the great run through August is in the best position.
Yeah, and he's not out of it. He's up there in the top 10. Still got 73 laps to go. He's still thinking he might win it.
So on that last restart, we saw Jimmy Johnson go 3 wide and get out ahead. Now he's going to have Carl Edwards alongside him for this restart. What about the 99, Jamie?
Well, no matter what they adjust on this car, he's not happy with the short runs or the way he's restarting. This was him on the radio a few moments ago.
Yeah, Jason, I'm going to do whatever the 48 does with his tires here and see if that helps, but I've been trying everything I can. I mean, I'm not spinning them. I just don't have the grip.
No problem. That's why you're getting another chance here. Just keep trying.
Yeah, 10-4. 10-4. Just frustrating. I don't want you guys to think that I keep screwing it up just for some reason. We just don't have that mechanical grip there.
Just telling his team he's not messing up. He's giving it his all, and we're going to go here again. He's looking for his 4th win at Atlanta. Alan?
Yeah, certainly been a great track for Carl. Been a great track for Jimmy Johnson, and been a great track for fabulous finishes. The 2 of them playing into one of the better that we've seen here at this speedway.
This was Carl Edwards' first win. Amazing finish.
Terrific. And something we've seen quite a lot at this speedway over the years, and the way the race has unfolded today, I'm almost kind of expecting it.
Yeah, me too.
You know? It's been pretty wild. Got a good group of competitive cars still at the front. It's been a little stop and go. Weather's interrupted the race a few times. Heavy mist. Now we've had the intensity pick up, and a few crashes have interrupted the race of late. And we're going to go back at it again with 71 to go.
Certainly the fans that have weathered all of these couple of days deserve a finish like that here by sitting out here once again.
And our thoughts certainly with all those affected by the weather, both last week and this week. There were some tornadoes that touched down in the northern part of this state, northern Atlanta suburbs, and thoughts with all of those who are dealing with difficult circumstances. We go racing with 71 to go. That's Truex looking low.
I've seen him do it before.
Yeah,
it looks like it stick.
Yeah, and Carl might have got it right this time. See if he can hang on the bottom. Jimmy gets a good run, though.
Jeff Gordon with a big handful in 1 and 2. Cost them some spots. Here's Kurt Busch. Haven't called his number in a while. Yellow and red 22 car.
He certainly knows how to get the job done here, though.
Winner of 2 of the last 4 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He and Gordon fighting for 5th and 6th right now. Keselowski behind them in the 2, being challenged by Denny Hamlin.
Gordon able to clear Kurt Busch there off of turn 2 there. Once again, takes a lap or 2 for Gordon's car to come in a little bit. Then he starts marching forward.
His big weakness is that first lap and a half after a restart. He can't hardly go.
Is that Tony Stewart up there rim riding?
Yeah, Tony's been trying to make some time. He's made a few adjustments and trying to work his way back towards that top 10.
Tony with a good car earlier in the race, lost some track position on a couple of pit stops and has never gotten it back. Here's Gordon by Truex. That'll be for 4th place.
Big run off turn 2. Paid off getting into 3 for Gordon.
Well, when he does get it going, it goes in a hurry, doesn't it? Man.
He almost just needs this thing to stay green so he has a chance to run up to the front.
Yeah, that would be Jeff Gordon's best thing probably for this thing to go green. See Stewart here still trying to battle. Brian Vickers, who started up front. Dale Jr. in the mix now to make this car better. He's up into the 16th spot now. Much better than they were earlier in this race.
Junior got a lap down earlier, got a free pass, got back in the mix. Trying to pick up some spots. Kevin Harvick had been up in the top 5 a little while ago. Slipped back a bit. Now he's racing for 10th spot with Greg Biffle. 9th and 10th there.
Yeah, Biffle with a good solid run after having to start in the rear here today. Made some good adjustments and keeps working himself up to get a good finish today.
I hear him working that gas.
Yeah. That's what you have to do here, especially off of turn 2. Just flattens out so quickly. Here comes Keselowski again.
How much mental competition is there between drivers of the same team to be the highest finishing guy within the group?
Well, there's bragging rights there. You certainly want to do that. You know, you want to beat everybody out here, but you know, when you go back to the race shop, you want your guys to be able to say that they had the best weekend. Andy, as an owner, and you had a couple of cars out there at the time, how did that go?
Well, I think that it's very healthy to have teammates racing each other hard. That is what I call healthy competition, things that push each other to learn more, to be better, and everything else. And they'll race each other so hard that they'll turn around and they'll be ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is healthy to have them racing hard. You don't want them wrecking each other or getting anything that I'll call unhealthy, but this is good competition here.
It's really a different dynamic than any sport. You know, in other team sports, you're out there trying to accomplish the same goal together, which is win the game or win the match. But in a race, you're teammates, but you're trying to beat each other. And sometimes that must make for some competitiveness and some awkward circumstances.
There's some teammates racing each other, Mark Martin, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Here goes Gordon now. He's got it wound up.
Going by Matt Kenseth for 3rd.
This looks like the 24 car we saw in the first half of the race.
He's got about 2 seconds to make up to catch his teammate Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards in between them.
Yeah, you know that healthy competition I was talking about? That's pushing Gordon right now. He sees that 48 on that scoreboard. He's going to be chasing him hard.
Yeah, and that's about how far earlier in the race Jeff Gordon was leading, was behind Jimmy Johnson to put him a lap down. Now he's trying to chase him down for the lead.
Fastest lap on the track, last circuit. Yes, the 24 car. He does have it wound up. Saw David Reagan's car get pushed to the garage a little bit ago, Dave.
Yep, a lot of guys working over there, but nothing to be done for it. David, what happened with the engine, you know?
No, we don't really know yet. It's disappointing for our UPS team. We had a great car today. A car that could have won if we would have been in the right position toward the end of the race, but you know, this isn't a good race for this to happen. Our engine shop's been doing a great job and have done a great job all year, so I'm sure something will come up that kind of a freak incident, but Drew and everyone did a nice job. Can't say enough about our team. Just picked a bad week to have a bad finish, but we'll go to Richmond and try to win that one.
Thanks, David. A bad run cut short. Now, a good run cut short, I mean. Another good run that was cut short was Clint Boyer's car. You heard Richard Childress come on the radio right after Clint hit the wall. Let's get that thing back out there, see if they can set themselves up any better to possibly still make the chase. Remember, Richmond is a good track for Clint. They go there next week, but possibly a few points to be gained by sending the car back out yet today, Ellen. They're working hard on the front end of the 33.
Yeah, got a lot of repairs to do there, it looks like, Dave, and not a lot of laps left in the race. Hornets Nest on the right, change for second on the left.
Jeff Gordon has this thing up on the high side, both ends of the racetrack right now, really making a lot of time. Once again, the last lap, fastest on the track.
And giving Carl Edwards the wave of thanks. I don't think Carl resisted all that heavily. He saw the inevitable coming.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
Yeah, you see that coming from behind. There's no reason to try to fight it off.
There's Kyle Busch trying to make his way forward a little bit. They've made all kinds of changes on this racetrack.
Here's the only problem.
Race car, I'm sorry.
That's for 20th place.
Yeah, but he is going forward.
Well, not so fast. Looks like that 27 car is coming back on him. There goes Paul.
Ceiling is about as high as it's been in 3 days here, so weather-wise right now, unless something unexpected blows over from behind the grandstand where we can't see it, looks like we're going to be good to go these last 59 laps. And remember the ticker as it comes across the top of the screen. Yellow are the guys currently in the wild card positions. Green, the guys that are locked in in the top 10 positions at the moment anyway in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. I shouldn't say locked in because some of them aren't locked in yet. Matt Kenseth has led a good number of laps today, being challenged for 4th place here by Kurt Busch.
Yeah, certainly the best we've seen Kurt Busch all day today here. So the adjustments Steve Addington talked about earlier making to this car, they've got Kurt running good.
Wow, he's loose right
time.
there, though. Man, he had that back end hung out.
Yeah, he did, but I think that's what makes Kurt Busch here good here is he's able to drive this race car like this. Looks like they've got it more to his liking, and you can get up against the wall and make things happen.
Now Matt Kenseth, he was just dominating here just not even 50, 60 laps ago.
You have to wonder if that's, again, a part of the change of the racetrack that we've seen as we've had these little showers and then the jet dryers out there. It seems that the top of the racetrack has come in more now than any time that we've seen it today.
You can really see the rubber laid down on the speedway.
Kurt Busch is using every inch of that top groove.
Yeah, I'm watching Jeff Gordon gain on Jimmy Johnson, and he is about a lane higher than what Jimmy Johnson is running too. So we've seen Gordon lead a lot of the laps today that he's led down on the bottom side, but this racetrack has changed, and they found where it's fast, where there's a little more grip.
Now we see Jimmy Johnson. He probably looked in that mirror thinking, how is he catching me? He try that groove.
Yeah, he didn't win 5 championships by just looking out the front.
Denny Hamlin trying to move up in that 11 car. 17 of Kenseth sliding back. Hamlin earlier in the race today had a car that looked like he might contend for running up front and then had to back up on a pit stop. Cost him some track position that Doc, they're still trying to make up.
Absolutely, Alan. And a moment ago, very frustrated Matt Kenseth said on the radio, said, I'm just way too tight, Jimmy, talking about Jimmy Finnick. Way too tight. Can't get it to turn. Just hanging on out here. But they're going to have one more stop. Maybe they can make an adjustment. Right now, he is not competitive like he'd like to be. Vince.
As far as Denny Hamlin is concerned, running right there on the inside of Kenseth, he said it's just been a little bit too tight, especially from the center of the corner back onto the throttle as you see him get that position. But this was a team just looking for a strong points day. They've had an average finish of 20th over the last 9 races. Were 7th last week at Bristol, gave them a little bit of momentum coming. They felt like they've had a good car all weekend long, and even as we've stretched into the early part of the week, Mike Ford was confident that if they could stay out of trouble, they'd have a good finish today, and they're working on it.
Looking from there up to this great race now for 3rd spot. Kurt Busch going to slide in front of Carl Edwards and pick up a position.
It's amazing how much this track's changed and how the cars that were good before, not so good now. Got some new players emerging.
And for the lead, Jeff Gordon has erased that gap to Jimmy Johnson, and he's starting to work him over.
Yeah, and as Jimmy Johnson moved up to block Jeff Gordon up to the top, Jeff's gone to the bottom of the racetrack now. Well, it's fun when you've got a car that you can take wherever you want to on the racetrack and make it go.
Yeah, it's just a little too loose right there, Jeff is, to make that pass on the bottom. Might be trying to bait Jimmy to go down there, maybe pass him on the outside. You think he'll go for it?
No.
9 championships between them. And racing for the win here with 52 laps to go. Now, that's still a long way to go in this race. Lead on the left, 4th place on the right.
Comes that 2 car. It's getting time to win, and he's shown that over these last 5 weeks he likes that spot.
Yeah, don't count him out.
Big money.
Oh, yeah.
Sprint Summer Showdown, $3 million player is Brad Keselowski. I know it's cliche, but catching him's one thing.
That's right. See, both of them sliding these cars
Power
off turn 2.
Passing him's another. Jeff Gordon is 5th in the championship, locked into the chase, but wants another win for bonus points for that seeding. Trying to get the lead from Johnson. Just hasn't quite gotten to stick it down low and hold it. Make it stick.
And Jimmy Johnson like those bonus points also. He only has that 1 victory, so those 3 points would be big as we get ready for the chase.
Yeah, this is the best position we've seen Jeff in down the back straightaway. He'll probably get him this lap.
And the thing I'm impressed at, it looks like that they've made this 24 car better on the longer run too, which was something that even though they were leading early on, they would fall off in the later parts of a run. But it looks like they've made some nice adjustments there, Doc.
Indeed they have, DJ, and now Jeff Gordon has driven down and taken a lead from teammate Jimmy Johnson, but now that he has the lead, he has something else to worry about. Listen in.
I think this pace hurt the tires. I got a little vibration. 7-4. Let me know if it gets worse. We can come anytime.
They are keeping an eye on it. The spotters are watching, and certainly Alan Gustafson is watching as well. They've told Jeff, if it gets any worse at all, come on down pit road. We're not taking any chances. Right now, Jeff has not said another word on the radio. He's just pulling away and leaving the 48.
Been on these tires about 30 laps. Not all of them green flag, though. There was a caution in there in between.
He talks about this pace is kind of hurt the tire. He's not slowing down. He's the fastest on the track, so he's not worried about it too much.
I think what he's referring to is back early in the race, he would run pretty hard to get a big lead, and then he'd have to give it up because the tires would be gone. And I think maybe he's trying to give him a heads up that he feels that maybe he was pushing a little bit hard right there.
Moving forward and sliding back. Kenseth slipping back in the 17. Tony Stewart going to take 8th place from him. Okay, yes.
Yeah. Tony, and he certainly would like to win here today, but he's had a solid run despite a few challenges in the pits. This is exactly what this team needed as they head to Richmond next week.
Tony saying coming into the weekend, look, we're in a chase position. We're in a qualified spot now. We just need to have 2 solid weeks and not have any disasters happen. We don't have to go out and throw the Hail Mary. So Stewart running in 8th spot. Jeff Gordon in the lead. His radio a moment ago.
I'm just getting word. 10-4 bucks. Let me know when it's too much so we can fit. We're in our window. Just going to make our last run longer.
Yeah, he's just feeling something he doesn't like, and they're inside this pit window. They could make this stop and not have to come again.
Well, how about slowing down just for a little bit? I mean,
fastest car last
again.
lap.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder if he doesn't have a wheel that might be getting loose more than anything.
Yeah.
That still can't be a comfortable feeling at this racetrack.
No, and you don't want to let it get too far out of hand because it can mess up the wheel
All
studs.
right, I think we're going to need to come in another lap. That's 4. We're ready for you.
I would bet he probably has a loose wheel.
And once he comes in as the leader, it's going to drag everybody else in. They don't know exactly what that is, but I think that we're going to see that mass exit to pit road here shortly.
Looks like he's going to make one more.
Somebody's going to...
We're ready for you. We're real good right now, actually, just a little free.
Somebody's going to stay out there and try and see if they can catch a caution and trap a bunch of guys a lap down. But there's a risk to both sides of that strategy.
There is. If you stay out there and try to do that, you're going to lose so much time if that caution does not
We're
come
about
out.
15 from pitting to. I'd like to pit in about 10. But if it's too bad, we can go.
That's got to be the most miserable feeling as a driver. Feeling something in the car, but not wanting to be the one to make that call.
Especially when you're leading.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. And again, at a high-speed racetrack, because you know that it only takes a split second for this lead, everything you've worked for all day, to go away. So, you don't want to wait too long, but you also don't want to jeopardize yourself by coming in too early either. So, tough call. But yeah, I like my chances with a 4-time champion like Jeff Gordon.
Not pitting again. Sounds like he's going to try and get those 10 laps that the crew chief was looking for.
It's like Jimmy's making a pit stop, though. Beat him to pit road.
How about that, Doc?
Absolutely, coming in, going to get fresh tires and get it full of fuel that they're in their window now, about 4 laps inside the window. Maybe close on a green-white checker as he gets his pit stop done. You're watching the leader, Jeff Gordon, right side of your screen. Also in, Kevin Harvick getting 4 tires. Air pressure difference for Harvick, who's been very, very tight. Jimmy Johnson goes by. The 17 car, we told you, he was very, very tight. He is on pit road. Matt Kenseth, one of the early leaders at the very end of pit road. And here comes Jeff Gordon down at 45 miles an hour. Final stop of the day. The vibration had gotten so bad, he said, we're going to have to go ahead and come in now. 4 tires. They will look at all 4 tires as they come off the car, get it completely full of fuel. Got to be very deliberate with the fuel man now. Got to get all of it in. Let's go down the day.
Kurt Busch with that strong late race run Crew Chief Steve Addington said, I like the way we've been going. We're going to put a little more air in the right front, take a little more air out of the rear tires. Vince?
The 11 of Denny Hamlin says it's a little tight off at turn 2. They're going to make a wedge adjustment for Denny, also give him 4 tires and fill it up with fuel. You see him leaving pit road. Tony Stewart leaves also. No changes, just 4 tires for Smoke. The 2-car, Brad Keselowski. Keselowski said he likes the car, but they made a track bar adjustment on the previous pit stop and an air pressure adjustment. He said he liked the air pressure, but not the track bar. So they're going to go back on the track bar adjustment. 4 tires, packet full of Sunoco fuel for Brad Keselowski. Jamie?
And Carl Edwards said he was getting just a little too loose, wasn't able to run with the front runners. You see the 39 behind him, Ryan Newman. Carl Edwards, 4 tires down and away next to the 2-car. Alan?
All right, Jamie, Ryan Newman finishing up the cycle of stops. After he pits, we're going to see the fight for the lead look like this. Jeff Gordon just barely blending up off the pit lane in front of Jimmy Johnson. Johnson with that lap on fresher tires, closing the gap Gordon had gotten away from him by. That's a pass-through penalty for Kyle Busch. He had a commitment line violation coming to pit road for his green flag stop.
That's just a bad day gone worse.
Yeah. And I wondered about, I saw Jeff come out in front here, but you were wondering with the struggles that he's had on restarts. But this is a totally different situation right here. So Jeff's car looks like it's up to speed, and gosh, if you didn't get by in there, I wouldn't like my chances.
Yeah, but what is it about that? You know, restart, car won't go for a couple laps. You make a green flag stop, and it seems to get going okay. I don't get that.
I don't know, but it's working okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
And it's just a feel here. You see the air pressure being able to build up quickly here, and they just seem like they've got everything dialed in for Jeff Gordon's car right now.
I guess one of the big things is you don't have all the traffic to deal with either.
Yeah.
You don't have the dirty air, all those kinds of things that Jeff was dealing with on the restart. He just has a great car today.
Sorry, Andy, watching what is the race for second at the moment will be for the lead when Mike Skinner stops and completes the cycle of pit stops momentarily. Remember, Skinner in the 36 car for Tom Baldwin Racing today. Dave Blaney suffering from some kidney stones. Did a start and park in Skinner's ride to 60. And so Skinner filling in this 36 today. Whoa, Jeff Gordon on the right. Almost tangling with a lap car of David Starr.
We've seen David Starr actually be involved with Jeff Gordon now with a close call, and also Jimmy Johnson earlier in the race.
That is close.
Yeah, and it makes it difficult as a driver having someone out here that you don't race all the time with, not knowing exactly, you know, what their tendencies are and what to expect from them. And Jeff Gordon did a nice job of making the best of what could have been a bad situation there.
Trying to figure out if Alan Gustafson is watching weather or just watching his race car or what there. We saw a couple of those mist covering on the lens of the camera that was looking at Gustafson. Now, what got me so excited a minute ago, if you missed it, watch Jeff Gordon here.
Wow, just enough room to get by.
Yeah, David Starr wasn't doing anything right. He went in, he had a car below him on the entry to turn 1, and his car, tires were worn. He was ready to hit pit road, but Jeff Gordon did a nice job.
So after cycling out, Jeff Gordon has a half a second lead on Jimmy Johnson, and they've put 3 seconds on Kurt Busch, who is the 3rd place car, and that far behind.
Yeah, and Kurt Busch, I think, would love to see a caution flag here. I think he really would feel like that he could battle these guys if he was right there. I don't know that he can run them down from 3 seconds back, although he's plenty fast right now.
And right behind Kurt is his teammate Brad Keselowski, who's actually a little bit farther back in 4th place. Solid, if not spectacular, day for that 22 car, Dave.
Remember, we talked to Crew Chief Steve Addington earlier today as we watched the battle between the 2 and the 99. Here we are on board with Kurt. Steve Addington, I talked to him a little bit further. He said the car was so loose, we had to really work on it. We had to work on it carefully to get it back to a good tight. And that's what they did. He said we kind of creeped up on it. That's why the last adjustment was similar to the one before it. A good direction and not a huge swing was my point, guys.
All right, Dave.
Subtle approach.
Wow, sawing on that wheel still. But that's a day-long thing here at this racetrack.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which groove you run, and after you get about 3 laps on the tires here, that's the kind of motion that you'll have inside the car pretty much the rest of the time.
Kenseth, Stewart. As we look back through some of the top 10, this the race for 4th position. Brad Keselowski, Carl Edwards.
We've seen Edwards and Matt Kenseth kind of lose things. Looked like they had things well in hand up towards the front after that last rain shower, and they had both slipped back. Edwards back to 5th, Kenseth running 8th right now.
Carl Edwards up there knocking around for the lead a little while ago. And like you said, just not there in this late stage of the race. And how do you figure? Because the conditions have changed so many times across the course of the afternoon. Mist, rain shower, rubber down, rubber picked up, rubber blown off by the track dryers. Go back racing again, long green flag run, couple of short stints between cautions. It's been a day.
This would be a big, big win for Jeff Gordon, a milestone win. It'd be his 85th career victory.
Comes Smoke, making up some more spots. Goes by Matt Kenseth for that 8th.
Again, not with us for the whole day. Tony Stewart ran up toward the front earlier in the race, about middle of the top 10, and then had a couple of long pit stops that cost him a lot of track position. And they just didn't fare as well back in the heavy traffic with that 14 car. But they seem to have it rolling now, Vince.
Well, remember, they won this race a year ago in dominating fashion, led 170-plus laps. So they started this weekend right where they were last year, and it has worked. You mentioned the problems they've had on pit road, but otherwise, Stewart has been moving forward all day long. They've got a car that they even haven't even made adjustments to the last 2 stops, and Tony continues to pick them off one at a time.
So Smoke up to the number 8 position. He's got a little ways to go before he can catch Kevin Harvick to try and go after some more.
Yeah, and as much as competitor as Smoke is, you know he'd love to try to have a chance to win this race. But with 27 laps to go, I'm pretty sure he's happy in the position they're in here. Be pretty solid position going into Richmond this Saturday night.
Tony, right now, 16 points to the good on Brad Keselowski for that number 10 position. Remember, if Tony has a problem and Keselowski overtakes him for that number 10 spot, Tony could be out of the thing altogether because he doesn't have a win yet.
That's pretty tight. I mean, you're talking about, that's really 16 spots on the track next week at Richmond.
Watching the race for 4th here, as 1st and 2nd, as well as 3rd, pretty well settled in with 27 laps to go. And it is Edwards trying to find a way back by Keselowski. Look at that run.
Yeah, you can see Brad kind of slipping up there in the center of the corner. When that car starts doing that, you just can't put all the power down. Carl Edwards was able to power up right from the beginning in the middle of the corner and make the pass on Brad for 4th.
Earlier in the race, we saw that 99 car was definitely better on long green flag runs, and then we got to the second half of the race and had a series of cautions between the mist and some accidents that kept the race kind of choppy and didn't play into Carl's hand the way his car is.
Yeah, he's been showing up. His car right now is getting faster on this run since they changed tires. He was the 3rd quickest last time by, but Tony Stewart showing up as a fast car. And, of course, our leader, Jeff Gordon, top speed.
Edwards going by the 00 of David Rudiman, had the hood up earlier in the race and lost a number of laps. He's 10 laps down. There's Denny Hamlin, 6th position, with Kevin Harvick trying to close on him.
Yeah, Denny with a pretty solid run here today, which is what they needed. Going to one of his best racetracks also next week. Good opportunity for a victory. See Harvick trying to take this spot away.
Really working the back bumper, working that throttle.
Yeah, that position right there, you lose a lot of air to the nose of your car, and you don't want to get into the car in front of you, but really makes it difficult to see.
Wow, look at him. He is sawing that thing.
Heard from crew chief Gil Martin during one of the rain delays earlier about that they've been trying things and have gone back to some things that they think are what they want to run in the chase. One top 10 finish in the last 7 races for Harvick. So on that momentum theme, really good day for this 29 team. May not be up there knocking around for the win, but they've been up in the front, top 10 about all day.
These are kind of days that you can build on, Andy, as a team and a crew chief, knowing that you've got something more to work with.
Yeah, they've had a solid day. They were in the top 3 or 4 there early, the first half of the race. Like I said, they're still solidly in the top 10. But these are, you can go away from these and say, okay, we can get a better in this area or that area. But when you're just out to lunch, man, you can't really build on that.
Jeff Gordon starting to put a little gap on Jimmy Johnson. Opened it up to almost 2 seconds now.
I see that back end stepping out a little bit, though, on that 24 every now and then.
Could be a big win for this 24, Doc.
No doubt about it, Alan. You know, I asked Alan Gustafson this morning, I said, how would you describe your driver, Jeff Gordon, mentally coming into the day with a chase 2 races away? Without hesitation, Alan said, you know what, Doc? You can hear his confidence on the radio. You can see his aggressiveness on the racetrack. He said, I wouldn't have said this a couple of years ago, but as of right now, he said, I will take Jeff Gordon over anybody in the garage area for that championship this year. He is hungry, and he wants it, as evidenced by his aggressive approach here today.
Yeah, I talked to Alan Gustafson too, and you can just feel the confidence coming from him and that whole team, that they really do feel good about their chances.
Little lap traffic for Gordon to deal with now.
95, he's giving you a lot more room this time. David Starr doing a nice job, though. Notice that's the leader. Getting down out of the way.
And there's the gap back to Jimmy Johnson.
The gap has actually closed up a little bit here.
Yeah, I saw that back end step out on that 24 a little bit.
Nice rally for the 48 team. Nearly lapped earlier in the race. Adjustments, ran all the way up to lead the race, now running in second spot in the final laps.
We've gotten up to 2 seconds. Seen Jimmy move higher on the racetrack than I've really seen him on both ends all day. Kurt Busch can't get any higher.
You can read that shell on that right rear quarter panel like that. In the
it
middle
looks like the right side's clean too. For as high as he's running, as loose as he is, it's amazing that he hadn't touched that wall. Dave?
Andy, it was lap 297. He radioed his crew and said, I'm moving to the high side. Let me know about my times. They really haven't given him any negative feedback whatsoever, so he stays up there. You know, their weekend started good when Steve Addington made a decision he told me about on Sunday where they were having trouble landing in turn 1. The car was tight on landing. But he said, when do you start giving up 3/4 of a racetrack for 1 quarter? Turn 1's important, but you give it all up for that. He didn't. They decided they'd get it as good as they could, and it's been good all day long.
Solid 3rd place right now for Kurt Busch. 4.5 seconds behind the leader, Jeff Gordon. Carl Edwards has slipped off his back bumper, but again, a solid day for this 99. We've been talking about momentum for the chase on and off throughout the day. They've gained some today. Carl up there racing for the lead not that long ago. And Brad Keselowski trying to win the big jackpot in the Sprint Summer Showdown. Was a little bit deeper in the field earlier in the race, but they've rallied their way up into the top 5 for the moment.
Well, they really are racing for more. Even if they don't get that $3 million, they could get into the top 10 in points. They could take those wins, those bonus points for those wins into the chase, and that's a big motivator for them. So they want to try to gain as many points as they can. Right now, sitting 17 points behind Tony Stewart for a top 10 spot.
Yeah, not only that, too, as we see Clint Boyer heading back out onto the racetrack to try to gain a few points, but Keselowski and him showing that even not on their best days with these race cars, they're able to run up in the top 5, and that's what you have to do if you're going to try to battle Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon for a championship.
Trying to see if Boyer can gain any positions.
I'm not sure he's going to be able to make minimum speed with that modified looking car he's got.
There's one spot he can gain if he can run the rest of the laps. So that's a point. Continuing to look back on some of the drivers and discuss their days. Denny Hamlin running in 6th position. Mentioned how earlier in the race had to back up on a pit stop, cost him some time and track position. And then it seems that at different times during the day, maybe he and Mike Ford not talking the same language about this 11 car.
We saw earlier that Harvick was right up on the back bumper of the 11, who's pulled away by about 4 or 5 car lengths now.
The recent scoring serial there on Kevin Harvick. And behind Harvick, 8th place, Tony Stewart in the 14. Not going to be the weekend he gets his first win of the year this year as it was last year. But providing he runs out these final 13 laps with no trouble, he's going to leave here still inside the top 10 in the championship with a chance to go to Richmond and race for it.
And here's a guy that behind him, Matt Kenseth. You're talking about how good the 48 team turned their day around. This 17's kind of gone the other way. Still inside the top 10, but they were looking pretty dominant there at one point.
Led 64 laps, second most on the race. But just in this late going, it's come undone. And quietly, sliding back into the top 10, Brian Vickers. Started up front in the 4th position, got shuffled out early with some strategy. Track position they never made up, and all of a sudden late in the race, Vickers is chewing his way back into the top 10. 48's closed right up on the 24 all of a sudden, Doc.
And Alan, remember about halfway when Jeff Gordon was in a long run and the car just abruptly got loose and he slowed significantly. That's what happened 2 laps ago. Jeff said, uh-oh, the car is getting loose, very, very loose, and now he's in jeopardy of losing the lead.
That happened about 10 laps ago or so. I saw that thing step out, and I was like, no, I don't like the way that looks.
Yeah, you sure pointed that out, and as I watched him a little bit more, you could see that happening. You can see right there the back end kick, even though he was able to hold Jimmy Johnson off right now.
All he can do here is try to take away Jimmy's line that he wants to run and try to keep him in dirty air. 10 laps, that's a long time to do that.
Oh, gosh, it seems like forever if you're trying to fight a loose race car in particular at this track.
So after dominating a lot of the afternoon, falling back, coming back to the front, having a vibration, getting to a pit window without that becoming a problem, getting out with the lead, pulling away from Jimmy Johnson. Now Gordon slides back into the clutches of his teammate, and they're inside the final 10 laps and racing for the win.
We just have to see if any of this lap traffic that Jeff's going to encounter is going to kind of take away his lane and where he wants to run and how that affects him.
One thing that might help him is a little dirty air on the nose wouldn't hurt a loose race car. So
yeah,
having some traffic might not hurt Jeff Gordon.
You can see the 48 right behind there coming off of turn 4 that last time. His car's a little bit on the free side also, back in kicking out.
Searching for a lane. Where can I find enough grip to hold him off? Where can I find enough grip to get by him?
Yeah, Jeff's just hoping right here that Marcus Ambrose gives him where he wants to be able to go. See Ambrose move up, giving Gordon the bottom, but Gordon's called really wiggly right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
look
man,
at that.
still
Wow.
out of shape.
Just
look
hanging
at that.
on.
Look at Ambrose.
And here comes Johnson
with a run.
Yeah, he might try to go all the way to the bottom. See if he tries to go to the bottom and take that from Jeff. Not able to hold it down there. Just probably too loose, and the tires have too much time on them to make that move. Gordon's still fighting his car there.
And we're talking a lot about Jeff, but Jimmy's got to be doing a lot of fighting of his own inside that car.
Yeah, and as much as he's having to fight right now, it's a lot less than what he did the first of the race when he about wrecked every other lap.
Got a good run there off turn 4. That's Ben Johnson's strong spot, it seems like today.
6 laps to go.
And to the bottom. Can he make it stick?
Yeah, we've seen Jimmy in this position number. Look how sideways right there. Wow, stays in the throttle.
Driving by both of these guys.
That's why there's 9 championships between these two. Able to take loose race cars, worn out tires right now, battling for the win here.
Two of the sport's best and the Atlanta track at its best, using every inch of this wide racetrack to try and find the grip they need to get to the front.
And there's some traffic ahead of this group. There's quite a few cars ahead. Looks like they'll catch them too.
5 laps to go.
Whoa, Gordon really sideways right there.
And Jimmy fighting right up to his back bumper.
You can see Jimmy just walk the car all the way up the track.
Did we talk earlier about another fantastic finish here at Atlanta?
Yes, sir. Got to run.
Oh, yeah, he got him loose right there.
Coming corner, door. Outside, right next to you, outside. 24 only.
4 to go. Gordon drives it in to stay side by side.
Jimmy's getting a little loose.
Both of them wiggling up off the corner. Wow.
Clear, you're clear. Let's just see off in front of you.
That's good stuff.
They're coming to 3 to go. I'm telling you, this is a dogfight.
Yeah, Johnson going to try to get a run on the high side. This might get his pass that he's looking for here.
That's not what Gordon needs.
No,
Can't
not
make
this
it work.
time. 3 laps to go. Regan Smith gives way the lap car. Johnson dives again for the low side.
Oh, both of them just using all the track.
What's the wiggle going to be that costs Gordon the win, or Johnson the chance to make a run at him? Lost some time there.
Yeah, Jimmy said, I got to try something. Yeah, that's where he'd made up a lot of his time.
2 to go.
Looks like they may not catch this traffic before the end of the race.
But it's probably still affecting their cars. They're close enough. Johnson gets a big run off of 2 now.
Coming to the white flag. So far, Gordon's been able to hold him off. Can he do it for another lap and a quarter? Johnson's gotten a big run off turn 4 several times on Gordon, but not been able to finish the pass. He slides this time.
Gordon gets the big run.
By 3, white flag.
Last lap. Gordon gaining some ground. Can he hang on?
Oh, Jimmy Johnson sideways as he went to the gas hard.
Look at him.
Sliding off the corner. Half a lap to go. There is lap traffic ahead. We've had fantastic finishes in Atlanta. Will this be another side-by-side run to the checkers? It's going to be a sideways run to the checkers. Johnson tries to get there, can't get it done. Career win number 85. Jeff Gordon, third on NASCAR's all-time win list.
Wow. That's some driving right there.
What a finish.
Yeah, all this going on, we couldn't go back.
Yeah. Woo! That's what I'm talking about, boys.
Tony Stewart came up and passed all of those cars from running 8th all the way to 3rd.
But you couldn't leave that.
No, absolutely not.
I mean, that was something. 2 of the sport's best, putting on a driving show.
That was just
Hey,
incredible.
awesome job, Jeff. You did amazing, dude. And all you guys in the pits, Alan, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm sorry I almost gave that thing away, but woo, that feels good. What?
That doesn't get any better than that right there. That's some talent.
Sliding around, hanging on, but not giving up. And Jeff Gordon and his crew chief Alan Gustafson and their whole team, Doc, with their 3rd win this season.
What an impressive performance, Alan. Great job by you guys out here on Adjustments All Day. But tell me your impression of what your driver did those final 10 laps holding up Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, our car was really fast to start. We knew that. And it was really good at the end after the rain. It kind of helped our car out. So Jeff got going there, and we just knew we had to pit a little quicker than we wanted to. Those guys pitted under green a little quicker than we wanted to. So that last one, we had to go a ways on tires. But that's Jeff. Jimmy's car was probably a little better at the end, and Jeff got him. That's Jeff Gordon right there.
That says it all, guys. That is Jeff Gordon right there. On a bad day, he's better than most. On a good day, he's the best of the best.
5th win at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, first since 2003. Terrific fight between 2 of the sport's best. Jimmy Johnson, how many times did we see the side of that 48 car hanging out off of one of these corners?
How about that last corner?
Yeah.
He spun the tires to the start-finish line. Yeah, you can see him smiling. He know that had to be a lot of fun.
And Jimmy Johnson getting a drink here. Jimmy, I see your hands trembling a little bit. Was it as exciting behind the wheel as it was for us watching?
I'm so glad I grew up racing in the dirt. I mean, if I didn't grow up racing around all those deserts and all those stadium tracks, I think I would have spun out 4 or 5 times there at the end. Just a great effort for this Lowe's team. We started off the race really bad, and they made some great adjustments on pit road, and the car came to life. We got ourselves up there in the mix, and had a little bit more speed on Jeff there over the long haul, but I just couldn't get my Impala past his. So one of those deals. Very happy for Hendrick Motorsports. Thankful that the fans stuck around some, and the ones that have watched at home. We'll go on to the next one.
Jimmy, it's not too often we see two drivers battling as hard as you guys were for so many laps. What is it like when you're following him? What was going through your mind as he's jumping around trying to block where you're going to run?
Well, we were kind of a little bit earlier the run before we were racing each other, and he ran me down, and I got a good feel for where he was fast, and I felt like I may have driven the tires off the car trying to get a big lead on that last run. So when Jeff took off there, I just took my time and hoped that he would run the tires off of his car and I could catch him, and it kind of worked out, but I couldn't get by him in the end. So but what a lot of fun. I mean, really, to race that hard, to be that sideways at 180 miles an hour lap after lap is a good time. I wish we could have got this Lowe's and ball in victory lane, but we'll take second and go on to Richmond.
Hey, to have that much fun, you are now the points leader, Jimmy Johnson. Let's go over to Vince.
Now the Perseverance Award might go to this guy, Tony Stewart. Fell back as far as 26th today, but man, you were charging those last couple of stints up to a third-place finish. How did you do that?
Just a really good Office Depot Mobile 1 Chevy. Just really proud of these guys. Long day for sure, and battled a lot of adversity to get back up through there, but really proud. They said we gained 8.5 seconds on the leaders on the last stint there alone, so you look at this thing and look at the front of it and look how beat up it is, and I'm pretty proud of these guys. They gave me a great race car.
How big is it from a momentum standpoint to come and have the kind of day you've had today after what you've been through over the course of the last few weeks?
Well, I mean, we looked at today as a day that we could gain some momentum back, so you know, it's big, especially going into a week where, you know, anything can happen next week. So just proud of everybody at SHR and Hendrick Chassis and Engines, and you know, all of our fans have been sticking with us here. We're working hard at it, and this organization never gives up. And we got Ryan in today. I'm really proud of that, and him and his U.S. Army Tornadoes, Haas Automation Chevy. So really proud of those guys. And I know we got Tom Tiernan from U.S. Army and some folks from Tornadoes out in California that have been battling some health issues. So we're thinking about you guys and appreciate everything.
Well done, Tony Stewart. One heck of a run today. Third place for 14. Alan?
Tremendous run up through in the last laps, and Jeff Gordon out there waiting for the victory lane stage to be set up. No, you don't get the Sprint Summer Showdown money, Jeff.
He's trying his best to talk
He's trying to talk
into following him.
Yeah, he's trying to talk him into it.
Yeah. But tremendous performance today for this team. Gordon ends up leading the most laps again, slipped back a little bit, had a vibration. Second to last run of the race, hung on until the last pit stop. And the big celebration for winning crew chief Alan Gustafson and the driver Jeff Gordon, providing us with our Goodyear winning moment, celebrating his 85th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of wins, and I know he had to work hard for some of those along the way, but I'm not sure he did any better driving job than what he did right there those last 10 laps.
While they make the front stretch victory lane celebration stage ready for Gordon to drive around, let's hear from some more of the top finishers today. Dave?
And Kurt Busch, who finished fourth, bounced back for the handling during the day. And then much like we saw from the broadcast, Kurt, you were like, where did Tony come from at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, it was a great run for us. A chase-type effort. I mean, for us to come home fourth, yeah, Tony was coming from nowhere at the end. And we somewhat surprised ourselves with good adjustments. That's what we've been needing to do, is good adjustments during the race. Solid pit stops from our guys today, too. So great run for our Shell Pennzoil Dodge. It's great to be locked in this chase. And just all of our sponsors with AAA, with Lennox, Snap-on, our friends at Coca-Cola and Tag Heuer. Just a great, solid season. Now it's go time. We got Richmond as a buffer here, but we got 10 weeks ahead of us that are the most important 10 weeks of the season.
So what's your thinking now that you're locked in going to Richmond?
Well, Richmond was a fun race for us last May, as well documented. I can't have people not stop talking about it. So maybe we can bounce back, get that behind us, and then go and attack Chicago, one of my favorite racetracks, and just get into the groove of the chase where every position counts. Everybody needs to click on all 8 cylinders on our team. And just our Dodges right now. Keselowski's in, we're in. We're a 2-team effort for our Dodges, and here we are with our Dodge Chargers running with the big boys. So we're right in this mix, and I feel real proud of my guys today.
Sounds like they could be pretty powerful, Alan.
Kurt mentioned it. Tony Stewart mentioned it as well, who is locked into the championship. Top 6 were locked in starting the day. And now there are more joining in the group. Kurt Busch has clinched a place in the chase. Ryan Newman has clinched a place in the chase. Can't fall out of that top 10 with just the one race remaining. And Brad Keselowski, there's only one race left. Nobody can overtake him on wins, and he can't fall out of the top 20, so he has clinched a place in the chase and at least one of those wild card spots as well. Vince?
Jimmy G gone from pit lane.
And the chase certainly makes Brad Keselowski happy, and a 6th straight top 10 finish today. I know you didn't get that sprint bonus you were looking for at the end of the day, but still a very strong run for you guys.
Yeah, we were just a little bit off all weekend, and the run next to last, I felt like we got close. You know, we were a 2nd or 3rd place car there, and just kind of got stuck behind in some track position. I think we were running 4th or 5th, and got back off on the last pit stop. So, all in all, it's good to come out of a race where we felt like we were off all weekend and get a 6th out of it. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do going into the chase, bring home cars without scratches on them, and get solid finishes when we're not at our best. And I'm proud of my guys for that, and everyone on the Miller Lite Dodge team.
A couple of months ago, you guys were just trying to get yourselves to be a top 15 team each week. Now all of a sudden, you're a Chase championship contender. How confident are you that you guys can win this championship?
Well, today was a huge confidence booster because we took a bad day and still got a good finish out of it. So that's exactly what you've got to do for the chase. And today was a huge confidence booster, as big as any of the other races.
Brad Keselowski finishes 6th today, Alan.
Behind Jeff Gordon, who has rolled into the victory lane area, set up on the front stretch where he could celebrate in front of all the fans. And what a win to celebrate. The guy who started his career at this racetrack back in 1992, November, his first ever event in this series. Now today celebrating being the 3rd winningest driver of all time. Dr. Jerry Punch in victory lane with Jeff Gordon.
That was his car owner, Rick Hendrick. He was on the phone with a moment ago on the Sprint phone talking to Rick at home as Jeff climbs down. And Jeff, as good a race as I've seen in a long time, those final 10 laps. You're sideways, got a mirror full of Jimmy Johnson, your teammate. Take us through what you were doing inside the car.
Oh my goodness. Our car was so strong at the beginning of a run, and we just, we used it up there at the end, and I was slipping and sliding. The track really changed a lot after that rain delay. Our car was real tight, and we had to free it up. But nice job, man.
That's Jimmy Johnson, by the way, on the stage pointing at you and congratulating. That's what you're talking to.
I tell you what, that was a lot of fun racing with him. I mean, I was slipping, he was slipping. The throttle control was very tough there at the end, and a couple moments where I really thought he got us. But what an incredible victory for this Drive to End Hunger Chevrolet. And I know we spoiled the sprint showdown. So I didn't mind sitting back there for a while waiting to get over here to Victor Lane because it was just an incredible day. And, man, this team is on a roll. And I don't care if it's Sunday or Monday or Tuesday, the NASCAR fans coming out like this to support us and have a race like that. Man, that's awesome. This feels awesome. And I got to thank, again, Drive to End Hunger. Text Hunger to 50555. DuPont, Pepsi, all of our sponsors. We're just so thankful. And what an incredible day.
Jeff, I don't know if you could see it. I know you had your hands full, but on the final lap of the race, Jimmy was just as sideways as you were trying to hang on and trying to be able to get a run at you.
Yeah, when I saw him get real loose off of 4, come to take the white, I could breathe a little sigh of relief because, I could kind of maintain down there in 3 and 4. I just got so loose. And he was rolling a little bit better than me through the middle down in 1 and 2. I could maintain the outside, but all he had to do was get to my inside off of 2, and we would have it would have been hard to beat him back to the line because we just lost so much grip there. So gave me a little breathing room there, and I was able to just be real smooth and easy with it through 1 and 2. Try to keep it driving as straight as I could, which wasn't easy, and then just baby it through 3 and 4. So. He had 1 or 2 shots at me that I really thought we were were done. I mean, I got so loose, but once he got to me and we were able to maintain and actually pull out a couple times, I said, okay, we just got to fight him to the checkered flag.
There are those close to you who say they had not seen you this confident and this aggressive since 2001, your last championship year. Are you feeling it? This is the year for 5?
I think this has turned out to be a great year, Jerry. Alan Gustafson, Lee, Tom, all our engineers, all the guys that worked so hard, the awesome pit crew, man, those last 2 stops were just money. And we're having a lot of fun right now. And when you can drive a race car that drives like that one, it makes me look like a hero, but they're the hero in my mind.
And by the way, Richard Petty, David Pearson, and Jeff Gordon, 3rd all-time in wins in NASCAR history now.
Jerry, I totally forgot about that. I got so excited with the whole win, and John Edwards didn't do his job back there telling me I won 85. I can't do anything without him. And I got to say hi to Ingrid, Leo, and Ella. Ella, I hope you had a good day at school today, baby. It's their first day, and I know how excited they are, and I can't wait to get home and see you guys. But yeah, 85. Wow, that is unbelievable. I mean, I'm just blown away. The kind of day we had, the kind of year that we're having. I mean, I just feel rejuvenated in such a big way just because of this race team and these race cars I get to drive. 85. Woo! I love it, man. I love it. I can't wait to get home. Can't wait to celebrate with these guys. And thanks again to the fans. Wow.
Oh, we'll let him get up there and celebrate with his crew. And what an incredible landmark victory for Jeff Gordon here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alan?
From a young kid at this racetrack in November of 1992 with kind of a fuzzy little mustache to a 40-year-old, one of the most accomplished ever in the sport, a 4-time champion, now with the 3rd most wins ever behind 2 of the very best that he very much deserves to be in the company of. It's been quite a trip and quite a career to witness for that man, Jeff Gordon.
First time I saw Jeff was at an open test at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He hadn't driven in NASCAR yet. Some of the press buddies of mine and I were joking around, and we saw this kid looked like he was in junior high. He had a little hairline mustache.
He looked like he was about 15 years old and he had a little mustache. Okay, trying to look older.
And I said, who in the world is that? And someone said, that's that hot shoe from Indianapolis. That's Jeff Gordon. I said, that's Jeff Gordon?
He was everything that Dale Earnhardt wasn't. The people that really loved Dale hated Jeff. And the people that really loved Jeff hated Dale. Because, honestly, from a personality standpoint, when you looked at them from the outside, they were completely different.
You're either a 3 fan or a 24 fan, but you couldn't be both.
In some parts of the country, Jeff Gordon is not a particularly liked driver.
Everybody was from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia. Here he comes from California, been running open wheel cars, very, very well-spoken, very polished, just a different kind of attitude.
As a fan of his growing up, I was stoked to see him win all those races, and happy that he kind of blazed the trail for guys that didn't grow up in the South to get a shot in NASCAR.
The victory here to Jeff Gordon. And another mark is put in the record books.
Pop the champagne, Jeff Gordon.
What a win for Jeff Gordon.
You are the damn best.
There's a lot of people out there running today. They're satisfied just to be in the race, you know. And Jeff is one that likes to win, you know, and he does all he can to win.
If someone didn't wreck him, he didn't even have to have equal equipment to win, because he had the driving talent. He was fun to watch. It got a little bit monotonous right about him winning, though.
And here comes Jeff Gordon to take the checkered flag. We'll remember the name. Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard 400. The championship goes to Jeff Gordon.
This will be the first modern day guy to go against the previous generation. Every sport always says, could the older guys do it today? And could these guys do it then? Who knows? You know, who knows?
I think Jeff Gordon winning 85 is huge. You know, I think back then, they raced a lot more. If you race more, you're going to get more wins.
Jeff got his 85 in far fewer races than Richard and David ran.
I don't want to take away from anything that Richard's accomplished, but at the same time, I think what Jeff has done is very, very amazing.
You can't go to Jeff Gordon and compare him with the Richard Petty David Pearson, because they was at a different time. You compare people to their time with the people that they run against.
At the end of the day, he's going to put himself in the same place as the big names of our sport, and that's always important.
So Jeff will be number 3, and that's a pretty good deal when you look at 63 years race car drivers.
I don't think we're going to see anyone win 85 moving forward. I think he's fighting for sole possession of third forever.
It was number 85 and third on the all-time win list today at Atlanta for Jeff Gordon. And perspective on what Gordon's accomplished from DJ and Andy. You heard what some other folks, including the King, had to say about it. Your thoughts on 85?
Well, it's just incredible, and having the opportunity and the good fortune to race against a champion like Jeff Gordon, it's just amazing. I think a champion can be defined in a lot of different ways. Obviously, trying to look at different eras, that is difficult, but he's won on every type of racetrack, from road courses to short tracks to the super speedways. Everywhere that he goes, he's been a winner. He's raced against more competition than anyone else has ever had and gone to 85 wins. Just incredible, and today was another remarkable win in his great career.
Yeah, and I was lucky enough to actually, I knew Jeff before he even came and started running stock cars, and then we were in that rivalry with Jeff Gordon when he was just coming into his own and starting to win races. And the last year I was with Dale, we lost a championship to them, and I knew then that he was great and had a lot of greatness left in him. And what he's done lately, I mean, he's as fast as I've ever seen him. I think he's going to have a good shot to win the championship this year.
Speaking of championship, the standings after the conclusion of today's race with now Jimmy Johnson leading Kyle Busch. Several other people locking themselves into a place in the chase, and people setting themselves in position to try and win that final wild card spot when we go to Richmond next Saturday night. Only guy in the top 5 finishers we haven't heard from yet is Carl Edwards with Vince Welch.
Carl Edwards, top 5 today, finishes 5th. Not the top 5 spot you wanted. What were you missing?
We got a little bit loose there at the end, but today was a run for those kids at the Aflac Cancer Center. You know, we appreciate all the folks going to aflac.com/friends and supporting them. We really wanted to get a win, and I know Sprint wanted to give away that money too. That's pretty neat that they did that program, the Sprint Summer Showdown, and that's a positive move for us. You know, we haven't been running that well. Today I felt like we had a car that could contend for the win, and now we'll go to Richmond and we'll go start the chase, and hopefully we can build on this. It's a fun racetrack. That's as much fun as you can have driving one of these race cars.
Everybody enjoyed that one today. Carl Edwards, 5th place, his first top 5 in almost 2 months.
All right, Vince, thanks. So there are all of the top 5 finishers, and we've talked with 2 of the 3 that have locked in their place in the chase today. Heard from Kurt Busch earlier. As you look back, Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart and what they have to do next weekend. If Brad Keselowski were to win the race, Tony has to finish 18th to lock himself into the top 10, and Dale Jr. has to finish 20th or better to lock himself in, and that's if Keselowski wins the race at Richmond next Saturday night. The other guy to lock himself into the chase that we haven't heard from yet, that guy in 8th place in points, Ryan Newman with Jamie.
And Ryan Newman does exactly what he needs to do today to get the job done and seal a deal in the chase. Finished 20th. Wasn't that great, but let's talk about your chase berth after missing it by 1 position last year. What a relief is this for you and your team?
We're proud of, we're not proud of our finish, but we're proud of what we accomplished with the finish. And just really got to thank U.S. Army, Tornadoes, Haas Automation, Wix Filters, Bass Pro Shops, NRA, all the people that have jumped on board this year. We've got 11 more races to go, a free one in Richmond, but that opportunity in the chase, that's what we've been striving for all year. So really proud of everybody at Stewart Haas Racing.
Last year, once you didn't make the chase, you guys went on and scored the most points of anybody out there. So looking forward, Richmond is first up. What are your thoughts?
I like Richmond. We've done really well at Richmond before, and that's a stepping stone for the next 10. We can build a little momentum after a 20th place finish today.
Congratulations, Ryan Newman in the chase, 8th in points.
Mentioning Richmond and that race that'll decide that final place in the chase. That is next weekend. NASCAR now with the late night wrap up on all of today's activities in Atlanta at 2 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Then next Friday night, a Dash for Cash race for the Nationwide Series. Coverage presented by Jack Daniels. We're on all day from Richmond, starting at noon Eastern. The Nationwide race is Friday at 7 Eastern, and then next Saturday, that Sprint Cup race, the final one to set the field for the chase. ABC next Saturday at 7 Eastern time. Oh, what a race. What an accomplishment for Jeff Gordon. Presentation there from NASCAR President Mike Helton. commemorating a huge accomplishment. And boy, he had to work hard for it.
Yeah, he sure has. And I think another thing that we have to look at is Jeff Gordon outside the race car. Yeah, 85 wins is fantastic, but how much he's done for this sport and getting it known in other areas.
So Gordon with a win after a terrific fight with Jimmy Johnson in the final laps, his third win of the season and his 85th career victory, taking over third on the all-time NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win list. Sports Center is coming up next, including more post-race coverage from here in Atlanta. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Delayed a day and a half by rain. They went racing for 500 miles on a Tuesday in Atlanta, a racetrack where Jeff Gordon has enjoyed so much success and locked up some championships over the years. And on this afternoon, he had to fight hard with a man he brought to the sport's top level, who's earned one more championship than he, Jimmy Johnson. And in the final laps, two of the sport's best put on quite a show. Jeff Gordon came home with the trophy and his 85th career victory.